them changes. So my mind keeps going through these changes. I think I must committed a crime. Every time I go see my baby, I lose all of my time. Little Jimi Hendrix, Buddy Miles. Little Argonite essence out of the singing bowl. Well, welcome to the Chocolate Mountain Show. Again, I am your host. Eight Wind is timeless. I am the holder of the continuous ball game created by the Hero Twins. It all starts with a gentle sadness. I am the Galactic Daddy-O sitting on my galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe. Tonight, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Lurking Class. Thank you for getting the double X's, baby. But are you down with your demon? And I'd also like to thank Acid Cigars. And this one is called Cold Fusion. So thank you so very much. So as you know, I don't drink alcohol every night because I like it too much. And so pop them if you got them. Shingite water. Oh, I didn't grab it. Smoke them if you want them because I still blow big stacks. I did not bring. I was going to go get my piece of Shugite and I forgot. I forgot it. But acid cigars. Yeah. So how is everyone? Oh my goodness, people in people have showed up. Okay. Antoine, thank you. Derek, thank you. Sean, Anise, thank you. Timelessness to you. The one, Aggie Pride every day. Antoine, the tourist season. Yes, they have. They have. I am feeling good. Little upset stomach the other night, but nothing bad, nothing too bad that I can't deal with. Sebastian, thank you. Hey, Moray. Yeah, I already heard that. And then there's a former Florida State football player in hospice, and he happens to be 33. Hey, so thank you for joining me. PJ, what's happening in Necessary Evil? Thank you for joining me. Yeah, there's a 33-year-old that hey Rodney, that he died. And so it looks like he played for Tampa as well. I don't know if he was on, well, he's 33, so I don't know if he's on the current team or not. They didn't really say, but they said he's in hospice with liver disease. So I need how to wash my sugar and make water. I don't trust Google. I can answer that. I mean, you just when you get it, When you just get it, you rinse, like you'll rinse, you'll let the new stones, like when you get it, you let the new stones, you put them in a bowl, you rinse them, and you let them sit for about 2 days. And after the 2 days, you should be able to start treating your water. It's always, now I drink it so quick that but it's always good to let it stand for a day or two to get the most out of cleaning your water, especially if you're just using tap water. If you're using tap water, probably 3 days to turn it to soft water. But if you're using water out of just normal store jugs, yeah, about a day or two. See what you can get the best taste. Yeah. So I just found out Herschel Walker's son is gay, and Herschel is being encouraged by Trump for the Georgia State Senate. Yeah, they've been throwing that all along. And remember, Herschel played for the Generals before he went to before he came here to Minnesota. Herschel had played for the Generals. They had again, that's the reason why Trump tried to break down the NFL with the Kaepernick thing, was because he was told if he destroyed the USFL, because it was Trump's idea to try to compete with the NFL in the fall when there was no reason to. They had a successful thing going, playing in the spring. They had a nice contract from ABC, and yeah, Trump. But you're welcome. But Trump ended that, and so even after Trump did all that, they wouldn't let the Generals. He was in financial. He was good financial. He had it was going to be 3 teams, I think, sharing the Meadowlands. So and then they screwed him. So he got back at they asses. He got back at the asses. That's where your Kaepernick came from. And people's like, oh, why are you hating on Kaepernick? He was with the famous tattoo artist. So no brothers did tattoos. It's crazy. All these celebrities who gain money and power, their sons become, yeah, Magic, Isaiah. Oh yeah, it's part of it. It's better than killing them. It's better than killing them. I think that's how they look at it. It's better than killing the children. They figure, start shooting them up like Magic's son. Probably almost as soon as he was born, they started shooting him up with chemicals, and so that's the sad part. And so, but that's better than killing them. I think that's what they look at. It's like it's better than killing them. Now I know at one time they had said Michael Jordan's daughter was like that, but she got married and had a baby, so I don't know how true. Plus, Michael gave up his dad, so I don't think they have to worry too much about Michael's sacrifice. Michael has at least 3 bodies up under him, so. But yeah, but it's sad for children. And I was gonna say because Michael's Magic's son's got to be what 6'5", 6'6". But yeah, probably when he was born. And again, how didn't she have it? She was living with the dude, and to have that child, his natural children, if I'm not mistaken, is just Andre and that person. And then they adopted a daughter, which you don't hear very much about. So, but it is sad. It is sad. But that's the price of fame, not understanding what you're getting into. Even on the sports tip, a lot of people it's their talent and they think they should be allowed to be in, but it's not the talent. It's you're chosen in a lot of ways as well. Like the Duncan dude that played at Michigan, they were showing how he started at a Division III school and then was able to transfer up to Michigan. So again, these people are not elected but selected. Even lack of talent, they still able to go and move on. So all right. Oh. Remember though, he played 2 things that you have to look at for Detroit's championship. He played in one of Detroit championships. Yeah, he played back with Isaiah in one, though, didn't he? Yeah, I think he played back when Isaiah in one. Or did he play? I don't think he played in the one with Rip Hamilton. I'd have to look it up. I don't really remember which one he played in. Did he play with Rip Hamilton? Which championship year did Bison Dele play for the Pistons? Clippers, Pistons, 99. No, that wouldn't have put him with Rip Hamilton in them. It was a hard one about him. Um, but that's right. He was the highest paid Pistons player during his death. But I want to say didn't he play on one of the three-peats too, didn't he? Yeah, Brian Williams. Yeah, that was his name. Arizona cat. Yeah, he played on he played on the 97 championship team. So that was probably I hadn't thought about him in a long time. But it'd be about money. It'd be about jealousy. You out on them boats and you ain't real secure. But yeah, it was part of the ritual for probably both teams. Probably a little bit of a blood ritual for the Pistons and a little bit of blood ritual for the Bulls. He was Bulls. Yeah, he won the 97 championship with them too. But so that was a hard one. That was a hard one to kind of understand because other than he played for the two championship teams. So that's how he had to pay. Oh, thank you, Anise. That's kind of you. Yeah, he was a Bull. He was a Bull, and he played in the 97 championship. And I want to say he played on one of them Pistons. No, that would have been in the 80s. So maybe he did play with Rip Hamilton. He was a good college player. He was mostly a role player when he came into the league. Again, this cat was 6'10", 6'11". You double check that. He was a big guy. But he played on the 97 team. And that's probably what it was a thing for the 97 team. Yeah, he was 30 years old and he was the highest paid Piston. And then he became missing. So he won the 97 championship with the Bulls. It says his brother killed him. I didn't even know that. I never heard that his brother killed him. Yeah, I never heard that before. I never thought about that. But he was this cat had to be 6'10", 6'11". Let me see, it said. Let me see how tall he was. 6'10", yeah, 6'10". Yeah. California guy. So he went to I didn't even realize he went to Maryland first. Oh, so that was back when you had to when you transferred, you had to sit out a year. They took a year of your life away. That hurt Larry Bird. Larry Bird was like that. So he was an okay guy. Not a Pistons paid him, but he was an okay guy. They cashed him out too. Yeah, the Pistons cashed him out. He was the highest paid Pistons when he went there. The NBA is falling off this year. If you ask me, the players are taking this year as a joke to me. I watched the games tonight, and you know what I really watched? I watched the semifinal volleyball. Texas put it on them because North Carolina A&T made it, and usually the Golden Gophers. I don't know if they made it this year or not, but Texas upset Wisconsin and put it on them. They couldn't hardly get any kills, and they beat them 3 games in a row. Kentucky won the first game. Can't remember who they beat. So tomorrow or a night or two away, it's going to be Texas and Kentucky. Texas and Kentucky for the championship. And so watching the game today, it's interesting. You can tell when Luka has I watched one play where he had got the rebound and he just raced down court. And you could tell he wasn't going to do anything but score. And it's that's my whole thing about the earbuds. It's you could see they were saying, just go there. This is for you to go. And there's always a certain script that they do look at, just like the Globetrotters have a general script. And you get to doing it so much, it's slight changes to the script, but it's script as they go as well. So because of the in-game betting. Magnets in the volleyballs? I don't know. I was looking at the betting lines, and it's not a lot of betting on that. It could be, but it didn't appear so. Again, I officiated volleyball for a good 15 years. 15 years of officiating volleyball. And so, not that I could really tell. It was like Wisconsin had a really good team, but they just couldn't get the amount of kills. And every time they got a, they thought they had a kill, Texas answered, you know, and you want to see tall and shaped girly girls. That's college volleyball. Now they wear the longer shirts, but years ago they would wear the skimpiest shorts, and like they would have they would tie their shirts around, and not. But now they make them all wear the long shirts, which is interesting. But it just shows their shapes and everything. But one thing Title IX did is, if you look at, like, take it like this: you got a grandmother that's a first generation Title IX person. She played softball and volleyball, maybe girls basketball. If you look at what women have to do in volleyball, gives you good shapes. I mean, if you took a girl that was like just all straight backed and you got her into volleyball in 5th or 6th grade, by the time she gets in high school, you would start seeing her development. And that again went into Title IX. It started making, and that's my thing, is you take the grandmother that went through that, and then you go all the way, say the mother went through that, and then the mother has a daughter. The daughter is going to look a different type of shape because of the generations benefiting from Title IX of doing these same kind of exercises. I mean, you want to get good, you want your child, your daughter to have a nice shape. Just have her do the volleyball exercises. It is a really good way to get the glutes, butt, back strong. And I watched this kind of firsthand, probably the GMO in the food. The softball girls too, yeah, because the softball's a lot of bending over, right and left bending over. It's a lot of the same kind of exercises that you see in volleyball, a thing that would really make your glutes strong, your calves, your thighs. And so Atlanta Hawks are going to segregate the vax from the unvax. That's funny. Is it me, or do the younger generation girls look more grown compared to the boys physically? It's odd. It's always been like that, though. Girls always start to show before boys. It's always been like that, I think. So some of these young dudes I'll be looking at, like it's a young fella. It's my son's friend, and he's about 25, and oh my goodness, he look about 35. Maybe the types of food. The softball girls, yeah, them softball girls be thick. Yeah, I think it's GMO too, and it could be, but it's a lot of it is the type of exercises that you see the generations doing because of Title IX. Again, Title IX was put into play, I think, 72 or 73. And like looking at my cousin's yearbook from 73, the young men's basketball teams, the football teams all looked uniform, good and everything. Then you get to the girls, and the girls had taped on numbers. So that's part of what Title IX did. Another part it did too is help trans athletes. I think Robin Roberts is around my age. She was probably one of the first that benefited, and she got to compete as a woman in college. So Title IX also benefited that as well. Did you see the Kentucky player that died today? Kentucky player died, I guess. Yes, in a car accident. The guard died in a car accident. I didn't catch his age, though. That's right. Yep, the guard died in a car accident. I did catch a little bit of that. Yep, well, I did see that he died. Kentucky's in the national championship for volleyball. So we'll wonder what happened here. Yeah, I think Brittany Grier's trans, but they lying about her being. Yeah, she had the baby by her. That's why she paying child support. Yeah, that girl didn't cheat. But yeah, but that's what happened is, Title IX offered that as well. So if you had a child that was really terribly skinny and not strong and couldn't compete as a boy, you see a lot of them took that route in basketball. A lot of them. And I'll say this, I noticed it in my hometown. I didn't really see that. But when I went to college, I started seeing that. And, again, my freshman year was 79. And so I was starting to see the boyish hoopers. I was starting to see that. And it almost had me thinking, like, my attitude as a young man, I looked at it as like, see, there's thousands, as I was saying before, there's thousands, women and girls outnumber men by a wide margin. And so when I would work these tournaments, we always had these girls teams. I mean, we had like the boys would play 3, maybe 4 games in the championship. Girls would play 3 to 5 by their championship because we had that many more teams. And you see girls, I mean, to play 100 games in the summer, I'm probably not capping. It's probably close to 100 games. Well, probably starting the spring, but finishing through the summer. Some of those girls would play 100 and some games. But men would, or parents would see that, get them on hormones, and then they would get to pass as playing girls. I see that almost universal in women's college and pros. You see that a lot. I mean, you can't tell me a player like Sue Bird who's going bald. You just see it in Grinder. I did on my other channel, I did a video of that showed, the highlights of the WNBA people, man. I mean, it's obvious. But it again, it ties into Title IX. It ties into that too. So he was 19. Do you think it was a sacrifice? There's no accidents. There's no accident. I mean, can a person get killed and they're playing sports and have nothing to do with it? Very possibly, it could. It could. Could be. Kentucky, like I mentioned there in the volleyball, could be. He just got killed in accidents, which does happen. It is a kind of people die. So not all of them is connected. It's just odd when you see an athlete like that. Usually there is some kind of connection. But he wasn't terribly famous, and I think he did start those. What the little bit I saw. So it could be he just died. It could be. Not everything has to be tied, but it's high. Have you gotten any superpowers? Yes, I do. I am what they call, for a long time, I worked for the sperm bank because I could fill the cap up like this. And they thought that was some type of superpower. That's why I have 8 children. But, I would go in there and I'd ask them, how much do you need? They was like, well, much as it comes out. And I would come back with, a cap full about, the glass be about that big. And I'd come back like that. And so I think they told me that was a superpower. They said I only had to come back once or twice a year and it would be more than enough. And they would get enough little cups for me. So. So Moray, I don't know. I do have a couple abilities. I don't know if you call them superpowers. Maybe a sacrifice for next season. Could be Soap. I was talking to Soap. Oh, I am on semen retention. I can't be watching any of that girl volleyball. Oh, okay. I get you. Oh, that's what he meant. I get you. No, I was thinking about that joke earlier today. I was listening to it on the radio. The radio was like, you can make $150 a shot. I was like, okay. You can make in 6 months. They said you can make 4 racks in 6 months. That's a better deal than giving blood. It's like blood, you'd be all drained, but you just go in there and toss it out every other day. I mean, I imagine you could do it every day. So 4 racks for 6 months. I just have fun. So that's just what made. I was kind of ready for that, but that was what it made me think of hearing that commercial. Charlie Murphy. That's what made me think of was hearing that commercial earlier. I just kind of chuckled to myself. I was like, do you think they'd let me come in there? They'd like, oh, you can come back even though you're old. I remember when Hugh Hefner had his channel and the one that was sleeping with him, I think her name was Holly maybe. And she was like, well, me and Hef were trying to have a baby, but his stuff don't swim enough. And I just kind of laughed. Like you take a brother, be 80 years old, and he could have children. It's like, what was wrong with you, Hef? You couldn't have no children at 80? My brother and I both had children in our 50s. My daughter is 50 years younger than me. So I don't see why I still couldn't have children. Get it up, just need to get it in. Once you hit that day 60 semen retention with some other practices, you definitely notice some shit. Get on it. Okay, yeah, I can feel that. I understand the premise behind it. Monks, monks practice that. That's part of what monks practice. Is it might be their whole life. So uh, their whole life they might practice that. Majority of the time. I mean, naturally, when you get in your 20s, you just have so much testosterone that when you sleep, you just let go of stuff. You just can't help it. I remember I was in the Meadowlands, or no, we were in New York staying. I think we were staying across from the Washington Bridge in Alexandria, New Jersey, I think it's called. And I remember I had, again, black college, we had roommates. It was me and another guy to bed. And I remember I had a wet dream. It's like, shit, how do I get out of bed with this thing? Not being discovered. It was just early enough. So I was able to do a quick switch and bag up my drawers and, kept my drawers back then because again in college and took a shower right quick. But that's some embarrassing shit. You don't want to be like, hey, this motherfucker done pissed in the bed. That what that. What when you're that age. Shock G died. Yeah, it made me think of even though the Humpty Hump was a big song, that was really their biggest hit as a group. I liked Do What You Like. I like that song, Do What You Like. Yeah, because that's where Mike Curry, they're all in the hotel and shit. And same song, All Around the World, because that was that movie. They're in that movie. Remember the first movie I think Tupac was in was that movie with Chevy Chase in it. Or no, excuse me, Dan Aykroyd, where they was on the roller coaster in the uh, what do you call it, junkyard like, and being held hostage. But Digital Underground and Tupac, they was in that movie too. But All Around the World, the same song. But Do What You Like, I really like. I like that song better than Humpty Hump. But it was another song where they do like sometimes when I'm hitting this argonite, like I can hit a note like let me see. See, you get that kind of. Well, Jimi Hendrix had a song where he's hitting the fuzz pedal and it goes. Doo, 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 doo. Are You Experienced is the song. In the beginning of it, he's hitting the fuzz pedal and it's going. Doo, 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 doo. Shock G put that into one of their songs, and that's one of the few samples I've ever heard of Jimi Hendrix in a rap song. But Shock G on that with the same song Humpty Hump, all that on that first album. I can't think of the name of the song, but there was a song where he uses Are You Experienced, that fuzz pedal from Are You Experienced. And far as I know, that's the only rapper I could really think of that you could distinguish it was a Hendrix note. Um, so Nothing But Trouble always made me think that was based off real events. Yeah, Nothing But Trouble. Yep, Nothing But Trouble. That was it. I took my ex-wife. I remember we went to the movies. It was funny. We had smoked the joint and shit, went in, and we were surprised. It was funny. It had us laughing. But yep, Nothing But Trouble. Hey Jeffrey, thank you for joining me. Yep, Nothing But Trouble, PJ. Yep, it was funny as hell. We enjoyed it back then. I think we went and had dinner, had a drink, and smoked a joint, and then went and watched the movie. And we was in there tripping. We was like, "Dad, we didn't expect it to be good." And the movie was surprisingly good, so we was kind of pleased. It was a good date. It was a good date. A very crazy movie. The actors showed good range. I mean, they played a couple different characters. The story was silly but engaging. It was silly but engaging. The characters they created was very engaging. It was a funny movie. It was actually a pretty funny movie. I like that. Oh, Mortal Kombat came out today. That's right. Huh? See if I have it. Let me see if I have Nothing But Mortal Kombat. I might not have it until tomorrow. Let's see. Yeah. Yes, I do. I have it. I didn't even notice this. I have it. I have Mortal Kombat. I will be watching it later. Okay. There you go. So I do have it. Thank you, Jeffrey. I might stay up late and watch it. I ain't got nothing to do tomorrow. Nothing to do but pick up the girls and look cute. Sit in my car and sun. Hmm. Oh, Jay, thank you for joining me. What is happening?
It's on HBO Max. Oh, okay. Okay. And I ain't paying for that. I can get all these movies. Thoughts on a vegan diet? Well, it just depends. It's like if you think it's you're going to do it because the animals suffer, the plants suffer just as much. I mean, that's a reality everybody has to understand. Long as you can get enough protein and get enough energy, that's the thing. Is can you keep your energy up? But again, I mostly the little meat I eat is chicken mostly, and even I have brother James on here, and he'll tell you the chicken ain't the greatest for you. Uh, I eat hamburger. Don't eat a lot of steak. Again, I think because I ate just a little bit of pork yesterday, I think it got me sick. Just eating a little bit. I ate like a couple pieces on the pizza, and I think it got me sick eating that little bit of pork. But just depending on your reason and your lifestyle, it's more expensive than eating meat. It's a lot more expensive, especially you go to a place like Whole Foods. But any like even if you want to go more organic, now if you live in a like down south or out west, it's going to be a little cheaper for you because the weather stays agreeable. But if you live in one of these places in the north, it's a little harder. The food's going to get a little more expensive in the wintertime. It's like I remember years where we didn't even get good, like in the wintertime, you couldn't even get good watermelon. The watermelon was frozen and just not good. So look at your resources and then look at the stores that you'll be getting things from. But don't go in thinking, this will stop animals from suffering because remember that the plants suffer too. It's like if I yell at this plant and cuss it out, it's going to feel a certain kind of way. But if I tell the plant how much I love it, it's gonna feel, better. Like this plant here that I had to protect from my cat. I was like, I tell it how much I love it and how proud I am of it. And it's just, it's turned into something completely, really great and beautiful now. So I just have it protected with armor and stuff because of my cat. Um, I'm gonna cut out pork for sure. And again, I feel. Let me see. Same old man. They says very good. Thought I'm vague. So it's up to you. It's up to you. It's a little more expensive, but I feel horrible without meat. But I've noticed the longer I'm on chinch, the less meat I want. Interesting, interesting. Holding in them nutrients. Yeah, again, I don't eat like other than pepperoni. That's about most pork I get. 25 years for me. Okay, Rodney. 20. Oh, no pork for 25 years. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, thank you, necessary evil. Yeah, it's yeah. I don't eat like. I'm pretty sure that's what got me my stomach sick yesterday. Was I ate a couple sausages on the pepperoni, and I ate a couple, and I was like, oh, and then I could have pulled them all off before I could cook the dang thing. And pizza ain't that great. Have you watched Falcon and Winter Soldier? I watched a little bit of it. The storyline during Tuskegee experiment, they created another super soldier after Captain America disappeared. And he was lamb. That kind of turns my stomach too. I don't mind the sandwiches with the dill sauce. My mother gets them like the ribs and stuff. And yeah, those tend not to sit so well to me. Maybe I haven't had it good. I love lamb, but I eat it sparingly. Yeah, it needs, I don't. It just doesn't. Now, sandwiches, yeah, but my mother gets them because we have what's called Barley's and Lunds, and you can get lamb almost every day there pre-cooked. They can, you call them up and they'll make it. But it's not. It's for me. It's not for me. My mother loves it, and all her friends love it, but it's not big for me. Other than the sandwiches, but yeah, I don't eat it very often. It's like duck. I've eaten duck, but I haven't found duck where it's not greasy. Duck tends to be greasy, and so don't eat a lot of duck. Nothing beats pasture raised eggs. That's a good thing too. It's interesting. Most people have chickens unless you keep them, somewhere they eat damn near anything. So, but I remember that with my great grandfather. Like when my great grandfather would kill a fox, he'd always put the fox hide in the chicken coop, and he's like, "These keep them away." Because this shows what will happen to them if they get caught up in there. And I remember I was over there when he caught one night. He caught it, and he was like, "Why don't you go in the house and help your grandmother?" I wanted to see him murk it because I was about 4 or 5, but I wanted to see what he's going to do to it. He's like, "Why don't you go and help your grandmother?" I was like, And then the next day we go in there and get more eggs, and it's hanging up there with its buddy. So he had one on each end. But I remember him catching that fox. Wow, wow, yeah, he caught that fox. But oxtails, that is my weakness. Now you would love my mother then, because she still eats oxtails. I don't get the point of them. It ain't enough meat. Turkey pepperoni, but high in sodium. Most of the time too, high in what is nitrates? High in nitrates too. High in nitrates. Yep. Like that stuff I got yesterday was better because I actually got it from the deli instead of them made up packs already. It was actually fresh made. I wanted to get salami, but I knew my daughter wouldn't eat salami. He wants people to have 4 pounds a year of meat. Bill Gates tried to make fake meat. Terrence Clark was a sacrifice for LeBron. Yeah, LeBron's had a lot of sacrifices around him too. I wonder who they're going to do next. It would seem like it would be the mom instead of his children. I'm pretty sure that's who's going to go. It's probably going to go mom, wife, and we'll see how far the children go. If his boys don't look like his son ain't tall as him. I don't think his son is that tall at all. They wouldn't take that shit in the South. And it smells green. You know, they try to put together some hockey puck impossible meat. Somebody gave me some. It's like, you like hockey puck sausage? I might eat it once a year. I just joke about it. But they was like, well, here you go. I found you some hockey puck incredible meat. And I just looked at them. They were happy and looked like, you know, smiling. Like, yeah, I think you'll really like it. Not knowing my son brought some of that crap home when he was working at Burger King, and it smells green. Even when it's cooked, it still smells like grass. It smells like burnt grass a little bit. But when it's raw, I opened it up, smelled it. I was like, whoa, it smells really grassy. So yeah, I didn't cook the hockey puck impossible burgers. When they left, I went threw it away. What do you think about Terrence McKenna? You got to give me a little backstory. The name, who's that? Is that the young man that died from Kentucky? Who is that? You got to give me another name or spark what else went with that person. Let me look it up then. Is that the brother from Florida State? Terrence McKenna? Oh, okay. I wasn't hip to him. Oh, this guy, wow, he died a while ago. Okay, I'm not really hip to him. I guess he got a few books out too. Not really hip to him. Thank you for making me hip to him. Occurring psychedelic plants, but I was talking about the dude from Be Here Now. What happened is those cats went down there. Well, it's a spiritual part to that too. With Jeffrey Leary and them went down there and found them mushrooms and they found the frogs. They could not cross over with that. That they could get that stuff and they wouldn't cross over. Then when they was able to make the synthetics, that's how they could cross over. That's why I say, you know, you have to protect yourself even in these astro kind of projections, ethers, because they go in that stuff too. That's the whole thing of Leary, you know, was like when John D got all the information, Kelly came in there and Kelly faked it a little bit, but a little bit he could do. So that's what they look for. So Timothy Leary ran at Harvard. Well, Harvard is CIA, so Leary did it for CIA. Yeah, what do you think about Alan Watts and Philip Dix? You know, it's funny. Alan Watts had a book at half price book store that I'm gonna get, but it was like $40 for a used books. But yeah, Alan Watts talks a lot of good stuff too. He's a good listen. They said the other dude from Kentucky survived. They went to school with Bronny as well. Okay. Oh, Frontier. Yeah. I found that. Ramdish. Yeah, is good friends with Terrence. Okay. Yeah, but Alan Watts, Philip Dix, I'm not sure. But yeah, Watts. I like Watts. They got a channel that just nothing but Watts talks all the time. Yep, I've heard work with CIA being about the psychedelic movement in the '60s. They was just giving the shit out. They was having like Be Here Now. He tells you too in the book Be Here Now. He tells you how they was just giving the shit out, how they was bringing people in, you know, just testing on people. Whitey Bellinger tell you they was giving him that shit in freaking in prison when he's in prison, you know, to get out of work and stuff. He was able to take that shit. The purpose being to change the social structure and being more liberal. Yeah. Any good stories lately, Sebastian? Not really lately. Not really. Just same old same. Not a whole lot of. Yep, MK Ultra. Yep, I'd agree. Part of that. Um, but yeah, it was an artificial way for them to get and sit with the source, and they couldn't break through the other way, so they found an artificial way to break through. Because again, they're in everything. They are in everything, so you can believe they're in all the spiritual stuff, the witches, and they're part of all that stuff because they don't want anyone to have too much power that can be used against the system. So they check all power, and now there's Facebook and there's this stuff. They're able to gauge what people can do and what they can't do. So that's the thing that they're doing. That's what they've used it for. Do you think Kobe was a sacrifice? It seems like he was the championship team sacrifice. I talk about that almost every night. I think him and Josh Okogie had switched a year before. They had did a conscious transfer, it appears. And so I think that would have been Josh Okogie's consciousness that got killed in the helicopter crash, if they did. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. People that fly all the time, it just doesn't make sense. Why would you go up when it was that milky? Why would you go up with a helicopter that doesn't have a system to tell you that the mountain is in front of you? So it doesn't make sense. It's no game that is that important. No little girl game, young girl's game that is that important to go up on a day where flying was basically suspended. This cat flew a lot, rented helicopters a lot, so the story just didn't make a lot of sense. Yep. How do you spell his name? Whose name? So he could be too for the Lakers to win the title. Then Tim Duncan came out and said, Kobe said he didn't want to live at old age. He wanted to die young and be remembered. So could have been part of that too. Yep. Josh Okogie. I think it's OKA. What is it? OK. He's an African brother. It's Josh Okogie. Okaike or something like that. Just look up the Timberwolves. He plays with the Timberwolves. You can just tell it to Google or whatever you got, and it'll look him up. He's with the Timberwolves. Kobe definitely never made sense to me. Yeah, it doesn't. Okogie. Yeah, Josh Okogie. Thank you, Jay. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. There was nothing, she was still like junior high basketball. So just didn't make a lot of sense. What was the hurry on that given day? Running late? Okay. You don't think they was going to wait for Kobe's daughter to come? All the tickets, most of these events, you still got to pay to get in. The parents have to pay unless you're a coach or something. So they would have waited for them to come. It just doesn't make sense. The story doesn't make sense. But it has sacrifice because, again, it created, I mean, I've talked about this when it happened. It just created some of these things that was invisible before, like the Kanye commercial, the cartoon. I mean, the things that really was invisible before. These things come to light. So it's like, well, see, they were foretelling. And then if you look at his shoes, they look like helicopter blades. So it brings a lot of that to light as well. So number 20 for the Timberwolves, leaving Catholic mass. He dies just weird. Yes, exactly. So Josh Okogie, Josh going to be a baller then. I mean, he plays good defense, about the same size. I think Josh is probably, I think they both 6'6". I think Josh is 6'6" too. But when I saw him as a rookie, saw him in his eyes, and I've seen Kobe several times here. I've told the story before. It was a blizzard here, and they didn't cancel the game. And I caught the bus. I was still living on the North Minneapolis, so I caught the bus and knew I would get a scalper, and the scalper gave me good tickets. He's like, "Shit, man, how much you got?" Like, I got $30. He's like, "You can sit here." And I said good seats. I wasn't behind the bench or anything, but I was still like under the basket, around the basket, that level on the floor. So I had good seats. Wasn't hardly anybody in there. Probably I guess maybe 1,000 folks, but again, it was a blizzard outside, and so that was one of the first times I saw him play. But I saw him play a bunch of times after that. I saw him play before that too. No, that was the first time I saw him. Was the blizzard. So that must have been like 8 or 9. Yeah, 8 or 9, maybe 10, something like that. Coleman and his daughter was on an island chilling. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised because it just, they try to show you people's lives and they're so pushy and that got to get things done and you got to do what we say. But I mean, a common sense person. It's like the young lady that died that was from Detroit. They say that her plane was too heavy. That makes no sense. You know how much shit you can put on them planes. You weigh the stuff and then you put it on the plane. So you know how much equipment you have. There's no way the plane is overloaded. So hey, when you notice that Clark player from Kentucky died the same day Kentucky player Anthony Davis comes back, that is a good catch. I did not catch that, but you're right. That is a good catch. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be either, CJ. What do you think about these celebs who look exactly like people in the past? Are they time traveling clones? Well, one thing, if you travel around America, one thing you see is people, and this gives the rise to the illusion, because I would say until my son was born, me and him was the only ones that had the exact same name. Do you know how many people are named that's got my name? And they're related. They're all Macons, but do you know how many people have my name? It's like 7 or 8 dudes. One dude played college basketball at Boston College. He coaches somewhere now. But it's like they've run out of names. But my point is, people look alike in general. I mean, I've told this story many times. As I repped around the country, I would see girl versions of adults I knew, but they was the girl version. And I saw the opposite. I would see, how do I want to say it? I would see children I knew, and I would see them being older girls. How they look like the children I knew was little girls, but I would see the bigger version of them already in these games. So people have always looked alike. Time travel could be, but more than likely, just people have always looked alike. Like you looked at one of my thumbnails, I've showed the picture of my great uncle, my great great uncle. Or I guess he'd be my great great uncle. I favor him a little more than I favor my great great grandfather, because he doesn't have this nose. I have my great great uncle. They fought in the Civil War, both of them. My great great grandfather and my great great uncle both were in the Civil War. But I have his profile. I mean, I favor him. Like the way our beards grow. If I let my stuff get down to here, it breaks in the middle. That's how theirs grew. So when I look at here, when it gets long enough, it breaks in the middle. So did theirs. The male pattern baldness I get from my mother's side of the family. My great grandfather, well, my grandfather too, there was a Bradley, but the Ampy sides, all them cats, except my great great uncle. He didn't go bald. His brother went bald, but he didn't. So, Dave Chappelle's the most obvious clone. Could be. I think Kuzma's an MK Ultra athlete. Yeah, I think so too. He's kind of, how people were so like people from Chicago. We remember this. I think it's on the Dan Ryan or the Eisenhower. I can't remember, but when you're going back south in Chicago, but way in town, there was a building where it was a picture of Michael Jordan, where they had a thing where they would color the change. It's a wall. So you're on the highway and it's, the whole wall is a billboard and had a picture of Michael Jordan, but it always had a picture of Dennis Rodman, and they would always change his hair. And so one day you going by, his hair be one color, another time it'd be another color. And Rodman got it from Wesley Snipes and was it Meteor Man, whatever that movie he played in. Yep. Doppelgangers. Yeah, it could be Rodney. Could be doppelgangers too. But people look alike. And that ain't going away. People look alike. My best friend is named Mike, and I met a guy on a train, looked just like him, and guess what? His name is Mike also, just like on Facebook. See how many people have your first and last name. Yeah, Kuzma always seems out of it. To if you get me, yeah, Kuzma. Plus, he went to Utah. Like he always in one gear. Rodman Fascio. Yeah, Rodman definitely. He later became that. Yeah, Demolition Man. Thank you, Jack. Yeah, Rodman later became that. You know, it was funny listening to him talking about. Somebody was saying that Isaiah and them was pulling a train on Rodman's wife, but actually Vinnie Johnson was having an affair with his girl, and none of them would tell him, and that's really what made him go crazy. And at one time, his daughter that just scored, like being the youngest girl that ever scored a goal in soccer. She scored a couple goals. When Rodman got one of his first tattoos, it was a picture of his daughter. His wife, his ex-wife who cheated on him, went to court and made him cover it up, made him cover that tattoo up. And so that was the thing that, because the tattoos was really a World War II thing up to that point. But when Rodman did it, that got the rest of the players. People might say Iverson, but it goes back to Rodman. Rodman covered that one up, and then he just kept getting them. And then it's funny, that's some stuff that I lost. But if you look at Rodman on the Barbara Waters program, he's wearing the leopard print. So you see, by that point, he had already sold his soul, for the fame he had. And that's probably like when he tried to, he was going to kill himself. At Detroit, and Detroit got rid of him, and he ended up going to San Antonio and had a decent team. Again, I talked about what's his name, the guard threw the ball over his head and it killed him. It's like they had a chance to score, and he just threw the ball back over his head out of bounds. But and then Rodman went to the Pistons when they tried to beat Mike up when the Pistons played him. The number one thing that destroys men is lust. Oh, it is. It is. Rodman lived a crazy life. But he beat himself up. I mean, he really beat himself up. It seemed like he blew through his money. But you can imagine the kind of, things he's had to do to sell himself, to sell his soul. He's had to do all kind of shit. Like, you just think the motherfucker just looked at Robin and was like, I like him to he looks like a guy I want to hang out with and bring him here. And I mean, what do you think that was about? It's just pure silliness. NBA wants us to believe the Spurs would trade Rodman to the Bulls for free. Exactly. I think they cut him. Or they practically gave him away for nothing. But shit, we saw that this year with Houston. They got they traded the dude to the Heat. I mean, it made no sense. You get this asset to make your team so much better, and next thing you know, they get rid of everybody down there. So they didn't get, I guess they planned for a high draft pick. Wonder what's the deal with him and North Korea is. Yeah, exactly. Why did they need him of all people? Why was he allowed to go over there? Then a lot of them went over there, and they was getting the bag to go over there. And then a couple of them, Sleepy Floyd and one other came back, and they was like, well, we didn't know it was a political thing. You guys got like 20 grand a piece, some shit like that. So then Rodman wore the 99 after he left Detroit. Yeah, he did. Yes, he did. He did. So, but that interview with Barbara Waters, where he's wearing the leopard print, shows right there when he had totally sold out. And he reinvented himself. So you have to kind of give him props for that, because he did. He reinvented himself, and he became, what did they say? Even with Mike, he became just as popular, probably. When he was in the Bulls and think about this too, is Rodman is my age. So when Rodman was with the Bulls, Rodman was 33, 34. He's older than Mike. I'm a couple years older than Mike. I'm a year older than Larry Jordan. So that's why it's funny, when they showed The Last Dance with Rodman got old quick. I think by the last championship with the Bulls, he was probably 37 at least. So he probably played 35, 36, 37. He was old. He didn't go to the pros until he was 25. So he was like Larry Bird. 5 years, he was 30 already. So when he was with the Bulls, but again, and one of my friends was in the camp with him at Detroit. And they cut my friend Joe Binion. And I thought Joe had better skill. He was a much better scorer, just as good defender and rebounder. But they kept Rodman. Rodman, what they say, Rodman could run all day, and he really could.
Rodman could go out and get drunk, and I mean, he looks terrible now. He looks older than me. That cat, I mean, biologically, look at him. That cat is like beat up. You see him now, and he's just a shell. So that hard living like that, it comes and gets you. Who is Rodman in today's game? I don't really see him having any equal. Somebody that could just guard anybody, be physical because he's 6'8", but run. I mean, if you missed him when he was with the Pistons, he could run all day. Every time they was on the break, even if he got the ball and he pushed it out, he was like right with him. Ended up slamming, you know. They tried to make Dwight the new Robin. Maybe when he was younger, but he was a bigger dude too. Dwight was bigger. But yeah, you know, Corey Holcomb wasn't very Corey Holcomb, what everybody said is, you know, Dwight had his anus muscle blowed out. Remember that before the thing hit this 19 hit. Birdman modeled the game after Rodman. Interesting. Ron Artest was kind of like Rodman. Kind of, yeah. Not as athletic, far as could run all day. No, nobody's been like that. But kind of, I mean, Rod, you know, went in the league. But it was funny. I remember, this is the thing about Artest. When Artest went in the league, he was like paying like 15 people. His barber, and he had like 14 other people. I'm like, what rookie goes in and has that many on the payroll? That just didn't make sense. But what was he? He got drafted by the Bulls and then traded. Him and Jalen Rose was traded for each other, I think. You think Kardashians actually witches? What they did to Omar? Yeah, I think so. I think they're a covenant of witches. Where they come from, that's what they practice. I don't think they're really positive. But yeah, I definitely think they are a covenant of witches. Hell, look at that man. It's funny you mentioned they showed I didn't look into it, but you know how you get the stories and stuff. And one of the stories said Caitlyn without makeup, and it's like looking at that man. Like, yeah, you'd have to be really drunk or hard up to want. And he's older than me. That dude's got to be 63, 64. He might even be older than that. Let's see. Let's see how old Bruce Jenner is. How old is Caitlyn Jenner? 71. 71 years old. 71 years old. So that cat, without makeup, how did he get away with that male pattern baldness? So. Okay. All right. That's better. A spell they had Kanye was very strong, but you know they was run through girls at first. You know, Kim was a run through girl, and so was Chloe. They was run through girls. You know, it's like Halle Berry. You know, Halle Berry had sex with Ric Flair. She was a run through girl at first. That's how a lot of them have to get started. They have to let so many of these men run through them, and then they get success after that. So. Kanye had a video online talking about mind control. They are definitely witches. That is a given. I think so. Look at that man. Rodney said, hell yeah. Yeah, and because he's probably under some of it. Most of those men changed for the worse. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. One of them was going with Chloe. She brought McCants, and you know his career went. She broke up with him and he went nowhere. He was playing in the big three. He was the youngest dude in the big three. So, yep, most of them changed. Reggie Bush, you see how Reggie, you know, couldn't wait to get away from them because like Kim on her episode where they show her stuff with Ray J, but you know, it's illegal. You can't put out a porn movie without consent from both people. So we knew that was an act she was doing. You know, Chris got them both to consent, and Chris put out there, and it made her daughter, you know, popular. That's what it did. That helped their show and everything. Helped their career. They turned a porno movie into $1 billion industry.
Rashad McCants was a good player. Yeah, I thought so. He played good at Carolina. He played actually good here. A little undersized. I think he's about 6'3", 6'4". A little bit undersized, but and the other the goofy dude was from here. I can't even think of his name. The big goofy dude that played with the Nets. He's from St. Louis Park, I want to say, or he might have went to Hopkins too. But she was here. I saw the younger sisters. We was at the Mall of America, and the two younger, the Jenner girls, they were here signing books and stuff. So I saw them, and I have pictures that's on my Facebook from shit back whenever they was here. Uh, my son was about 13, so that had to been 12, 11, 12, something like that. They was here signing books. So they closed the park off to let them do rides. Well, they just closed individual rides, not just the whole park, and they only wanted to go on a couple rides. So got to see them two girls, and they were still like older teenagers. You know, Humphreys, there you go, Humphreys, Chris Humphreys, he was the sucker. Chris Humphreys was the sucker, and then Hank lose the Super Bowl. Hank was here. He was with the Vikings for a hot minute, so they was living off of 169. It's some condos back in there, probably just apartments now. They got rid of most condos, but they was here for a while. They was living here when Hank was with them. But yeah, Humphreys. I think Humphreys went to Hopkins. Pretty sure he came out of Hopkins, but he was 16. But he was just, that was them girls. They was run through girls. That's what they kind of wanted to have children with these athletes, hoping that they could have something or some kind of talent from these fathers. But yeah, he was a simp. Humphreys was a simp. He was a simp. But she was, you would see him at the Mall of America, Humphreys and Kim, but they lived, I saw him at the, what's that mall called? It's in Minnetonka. No, no, not Richfield. I can't think of that mall. It's not too far from where I live now, but that mall over there, I can't think of the name of it. But that mall, they was over there in Minnetonka, whatever the Minnetonka mall. I can't think of it right now, but that's where I saw them. They was out shopping one day. It'd be motherfuckers here all the time, so it really that big a deal, to see them. And I ain't never been no rah-rah type. See somebody and be like, hey, let's gawk at these people. I ain't never been that type of guy. Let me get the divinations out. So we should be at 13 platoons, 0 platoons, 8 tunes, 8 unals, and we should be at 5 kin. And so those that want to manifest today, we start a new easternly energy. The energy is coming out of the east again. So it is serpent, nervous system, reptilian brain, integration, attainment of autonomic functions. And as I mentioned, the energy is coming from the east. Oh, I'm sorry. And those that would like the fractal energy would be Chechen. That's the Mayan fractal. And then for the Toltec go, it's Quoto or snake. In this image, we see a Yanni whose high place in the Toltec hierarchy is shown by having a snake in his walking stick. As most traditions in the world, the walking stick has a double meaning of an instrument to aid elders and an object that holds and represents person's power. On the other hand, he holds an arrow with blood, which represents the struggle and effort that make the person capable of achieving such mastery in the handling of energy. To the Toltec, the blood was precious fluid that contained the essence of life, and often they would offer some drops of their own blood to emphasize their commitment to the spiritual forces they were in connection with. The blood on the Yanni's arrow was most likely his own, which he was offering some purification rituals. Through such efforts and sacrifices, he was able to handle the power of the snake. The scorpion on the top represents pitfalls and temptations that the spiritual seeker may face if he does not continually strive for impeccability. The dualistic of the understanding is at the core of the tradition. The dualistic understanding of the world is at the core of the Toltec tradition. Is represented on almost every aspect of the culture. It is within this perspective that the snake reveals its most archetypical features. To the Toltec, the snake is not the enemy, but the necessary half of the sacred duality, spirit matter, as it is seen in lower for comparison with that is higher, which is higher is also low. It could be looked at lower. Unlike the Judo-Christian representation of the snake as the evil we need to kill, and that's more aligned with Aztec. For the Toltec, the snake was either the material world or the side of our personality that we don't like because we believe it is our weakness. From this point of view, it is remarkable that the serpent could be the symbol of power and at the same time the symbol of weakness that means to be transcended. This apparent contradiction is consistent with the system of knowledge that often was built by the juxtaposition of contradictory truth, which is so much part of the Toltec culture. The snake is a symbol of weakness, but also is the symbol of power, because the power arises from embracing the part of the self that we reject as a necessary principle for growing. The snake is the symbol of power because it contains the potential to develop feathers and start the flight of Quetzalcoatl, the plum serpent, which is uplifting of awareness. The message of this card is to recognize the power in yourself. The other meaning of it is to be fully aware, as the Toltecs were, that we are entitled to and deserve to have direct connection with this great spirit by ourselves and without intermediaries. The Toltec knew that the way to do this was not through archetypical fantasy of becoming perfect or enlightened, but instead going for that sacred encounter as we are with our virtues and flaws, because there will be no time in which we will be totally good or totally perfect. We are dual natured beings, and therefore we will be dual natured beings until the very end. Therefore, killing the serpent, mundane life, will be killing the soul, just the same as killing the eagle, the spirit, would be killing the soul. The sacredness of the serpent at the same level as the sacredness of the eagle reveals that both sides of ourselves are necessary. The tension between them, known as the dance of the eagle and the serpent, pushes us towards the growth and towards the quest of becoming our original, the source. And am I engaged in a negative pattern of thinking about myself? Am I engaged in a pattern of negative thinking about others? What part of my own life am I trying to get away from through my negative thought about others? Am I wasting opportunities for growth in my work by trying to avoid conflict? What negative emotions have I been experiencing that I am afraid to acknowledge? Who am I targeting with those emotions? Someone else or myself? Are they different? Am I willing to be honest with myself and admit openly what I've been trying to deny? Oh, here we go. So, what lessons can I learn from the negative things that I've done and use to nurture my spiritual path? Am I ready to place myself in front of the Great Spirit and show my naked soul with all the beauty and its flaws? What is my snake made of? What is my ego made of? How can my snake nurture my ego? And so, again, those who want to manifest, you want a little push, the energy is going to be coming from the east. Yeah. Rod Kardashian, the only one of them who's probably normal, and he's an outcast. Humphreys. Junior college football is legit. It is. It's a big thing here, going more west, southwest. Yeah. They don't really have it, Larsa Pippins. How those women make them men super beta is beyond me. What kind of spell do you think they concocted? Well, I mean, a lot of those cats they pick were they kind of bigger stars than them, except with Kim and Kanye. But again, you can see where Kim was more sucking Kanye's energy, where Kanye was more out front and Kim was kind of in the back, stacking her chips. And so they're into 20 plus years now of, look how far we are from OJ's. We're 24, 25 years. No, we're like 30 years almost from OJ. And so, this is how long they've been, wielding this. And so since they've been adults, you see how they've even reinvented the way they look and everything. They've done all these things to their bodies. And so their magic has really worked for them in gaining wealth in this life. But again, they have sold everything. They have sold all the decentness. as part of them. Mm, thank you, Abram. A lot of things that go on today went on in the ancient world. Nothing is new under the sun. That's kind of part of it too. Yep. Rob let the hoes play him. Oh, and they daddy. Yeah, the daddy got played as well. But all them loved OJ, you know. Like you look at OJ, what he did for his ex-wife's family. The daddy got a Hearst. What do you call it? He had his own Hearst company. You know, wherever airport out there in LA, his daddy was part of her. He got her daddy. So the sister, I mean, all of them was working. And so Kardashians, everybody, you got pictures with Uncle Impaso, with OJ. You see a lot of people that couldn't wait to get up next to Big Head OJ. So, but OJ, all that stuff was the first reality TV program. And we fell for it. And this thing we just went by is the same thing, you know, kind of just the opposite. Kind of just the opposite. And they said, well, you know, if it was guilty, if anybody looked at how many people was downtown, it wasn't a whole bunch of people came here. Like I called out, bring millions here. It wasn't that. It wasn't a whole bunch of people. No. So the numbers wasn't going to be much change from the one that we had a year ago. So it was just the young people. And so this is the way to make them docile. You know, oh, we gave them something favorable because you think more people going to come in now for his sentencing? They might not even do the sentencing on TV. They probably will. But you think if he gets 10 years, people are going to be rioting? I don't think so. You know, 8 weeks makes the people forget and sleep. It's to put people under the sleep. And so they might not even have that reported where they make a deal and he might only do. I mean, if he gets like they gave the Somalian cat 12 years, what he'll do 5 or 6 years maybe. And he's going to be by himself, so it ain't going to be nobody, you know, like American X, you know, like they did the Sully that's playing on Snowfall in American X, you know, he's like, oh, you know, he's not paying attention that, you know, these 3 big Nazis is around him. And again, why would they put him with them? Dude said that role bothered him. You still played it, buddy. You still played that role. So but I mean, these witches, you know, as they got money and power, you know, that's the influence to go get the real stuff, to bring in the real witches to show them how to make their power even greater. So that's that. If you want to see, you know, to getting the best energies, as far as the witchcraft around the world, you don't think they tapped into that? So they're getting the top stuff from the top people. So they've tapped into very ancient stuff. Again, it's to have wealth and riches on this platform, but there's nothing for them when it's over. But this is heaven on earth, you know, for them. This is heaven to them. A lot of these people, this is their heaven because they have nothing to look forward to. They've given it all up here. Their souls don't care. They don't care about living forever. They only care while they're on this plane being rich. That's all they care about. What happens afterward, they already know they're going to get fed on, but they don't care. So that's how a lot of them look at it. What did Cyprus say? Make me rich. I know the steak ain't real, but just make me rich. Make me forget that I ever ate that bullshit they've been feeding me for the last so many years. That's how a lot of them feel. I feel like my body, especially my heart and eyes, are getting too sensitive when meditating. What does that mean? I feel like my body, especially my heart and eyes, are getting sensitive when meditating. What does that mean? Hmm. Well, I mean, your heart is probably coming in more in tune with you as you take the time to yourself, and it's probably just giving you more of a communication with it. You know, because we have several hearts. I mean, our skin is like a heart as well, but the most energy we have is right here. You know, your heart is the brain as well. You know, your heart is the brain too. We just got up here. We got a brain that's here as well. And so that's all it is getting in tune to your body. Now your eyes, kind of hard to say with that one. My eyes most of the time are I blindfold myself when I meditate. So I mean it could be, you know, you're closing your eyes, But again, it could be a type of communication. Let me give you an interesting thing. Like I was meditating today, and my cat was behind me. So normally I don't let my cats go in my room because I don't like them on my bed. Some people don't care. I don't like them on my bed. But I had the room open because some goofy shit happened in my closet. But so I put my uh, mask on, and I know like there's nothing to show me what's behind me. And I closed my eyes and I could see, because again, when you get into the state, it's nothing behind you. It's nothing behind you. It's all just like right there. And so I could see the cat behind me. It was funny. I saw the energy of the cat behind me, but it was on this side. Like the cat in this reality was like on this side. But when it came projected through, the cat was on here, but the cat was over here. And so it's kind of funny how but again, it's no behind, kind of like it made me think of flat plane, because flat plane, there's only on top and on bottom. But this was kind of just the way it works. And it was kind of interesting to see the cat. So I really don't know about why your eyes would be so sensitive. I don't have an answer for that. Your eyes are getting too sensitive. I mean, if your eyes are watering or something, again, try to get a mask to put over your eyes. Dollar store have them for like $1. Dollar store have them for $1 or 99 cents. So that could be it. But your heart is probably opening up to you, showing you how strong it is. Because again, the heart has a brain. When I was born in the cave, that was the first consciousness for me, was my heart was the consciousness. And then the heart noticed and communicated with everything as the other organs came in. But your heart is the first thing that it develops. Do you think celebrities play multiple roles as different people? I'll tell you what. I almost did a video on Michael Wilburn. And Michael Wilburn used to work for the Washington, whatever their newspaper's called, but now he's a sports dude on ESPN. And I don't know if he had surgery in here. I couldn't tell, but this cat, like, I'll be 60, and this dude's only 62, 63 at the oldest. But his neck showed to be like a dude in his 70s. I mean, his neck was just, I don't know what it was there, but it made me look and think. So I started looking under here to see if I could see the makeup, because a lot of times when they do Biden, they don't do the proper makeup to make the mask sit. But Michael Wilborn, it looked like he was wearing a type of mask. When I looked at the neck was something different. And so I don't know. I don't know what would be the need of that. There's a lot of stand-ins. So I don't know. I don't know if I kind of get with that, playing multiple roles. There's plenty of people. I am a Christian. Can Christians meditate? Why not? What do you think silent prayer would be? What do you think silent prayer would be? That's the same thing. I mean, why couldn't you meditate and say the same prayer while you meditating? While you just sitting there being quiet. It's just silent prayer. It's the same thing. It's like one divineness. She does one night of meditating, and then she has a night. I think today was her day of prayer. She has a prayer group, and so she does things kind of similar, but she has a prayer group on I think every Thursday. And so yeah, it's very, very much the same. It's if you want to talk to those kind of energies, that would be the time, is to have silent prayer, and then open your heart up to that. Because again, the beautiful thing about that is the love that's taught by Jesus. And then when you go into the disciples, once he shows them how to heal, and these men don't ask for riches, they say, just give us the power to go heal these people. Let us go with the poor, let us go with the hungry. I mean, that's the beautiful part of the story that really probably is overshadowed. But that's a love energy. A lot of love energy can come out of that. And again, it would be more the Yahshua kind of energy than the Jesus kind of energy, because that those letters didn't exist during his time. But yeah, silent prayer, it could be found in silent prayer, definitely. Yeah, prayer is a form of meditation. Yeah, really would be. Yeah. I mean, when you tell a child to, get on their knees and pray at night, it's the same kind of thing, getting in touch. That's why it's really, for children, it's not a bad habit, because it does, teach them to get in touch with their spiritual side, be it from whatever you come from. So yeah. So yeah, don't feel that it's an evilness to it, because it's nothing evil about silent prayer. It's almost the same kind of thing. You can do the same type of breaths and everything. And so, where do I want to go with this? But you could get into an astral field praying. You could, if you're vibrating high enough. And and you could experience that real love from the source, I guess is what I want to say. Is, you could get that love from the source in that kind of state. Yeah. Oh, okay. But yeah, so tobacco is soothing. uh, this should have been the reject aisle. Oh, but up here, beautiful day today. Beautiful day. It was in the 60s up here. It's supposed to be nice tomorrow, rain in the morning, and then nice the rest of the day. When I do pray, it calms me. It also takes me to another place. Then you must be doing it right. Because if it takes you to another place, you must be doing something right. Because if you can feel the Yahshua love coming in, open your heart up to that type of love. That can be pretty powerful. Definitely be pretty powerful. And that's why it's not discounted or nothing like that by people. And that's the beautiful part is open your heart up to the love of that, because that's supposed to be the source's words is, the love. It took a loving being to put another loving being down there that talked about love and not wealth, and moving in every circle, and then actually attacking the bankers. You got the bankers selling shit in the shrine, and he went off. It's like, this ain't what this is for. Not to sell shit up in here. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, and it doesn't make you evil or anything like that. Again, I've watched the real spirit come into people in churches. It's an interesting thing to see compared to the people that's faking it, and seeing when it does go into a person. That is quite a phenomenon to see, and it don't happen to a lot of folks. But there are certain people that you can see. At least I can see it. I can see when the spirit goes into people. I watched that. I first saw that as a young boy, and it just tripped me out the first time I saw it. And as I got older, I got to understanding what I was seeing, and now as elder now myself, I was like, oh, that's a thing. I used to see it. It's a real thing that I used to witness. So, astral travel, time travel, it's a little different. It's a little different because you can astral travel without operating in the halls of the ribbons of time. You don't necessarily, just because you astral travel, you don't necessarily go into the halls that have the ribbons of time. So I think it's a little different. But not to say you can't achieve to go into the halls of the ribbons of time. You can. Timeless, I just study and just learn here. Well, you need to do a little more studying. Jesus definitely was a stern man. Oh, no doubt, CJ. No doubt. I just add. That's all. I just give up my knowing, but those things are a little different. And it's just like the Tsar movement is even different than both of them. Something else was revealed to me about how you do it, so I'm not going to really reveal that because I don't know if I have permission to. But it's like the Tsar world seems to going more in line with the ribbons of the time halls. Seems like it's a little more in line, but it even I don't know. The Tsar stuff is quite amazing to me. It's this movement is different than the other movements I'm used to. It's really seems like it supersedes those. Seems like it can move through both of those with its own separate source. It seems like. When I was a kid going to church, this woman used to shout at the same time every Sunday, screaming, "Yes, yes, mm." I used to see, and elsewhere I can. Oh, that's cool, Rodney. Yeah, just open your mind to everybody. But yeah, I used to see people that would fake it, and they would fake it at about the same time. But it was a tension thing. It was a tension thing. It's like some of them dancing. But the music is, the music is made. The music is you got the organ, which turned into the electric keyboard that makes your insides operate and move. That's why you go to a lot of the soul churches, and the people, the music is a little different. And then you go into one of the cathedrals and you swear that the music is the music of Dracula. It's that everybody's singing opera and stuff, and you're like looking around like Dracula's about to come out anywhere. So it's a little different, but it just depends on what we used to. Yep, knocking over idols, prince thieves in the temple. Yep. But yeah, I used to notice that people in church. But there's people that could do it. I watch people that could do it. And sometimes some churches would be so pure that it would overtake me because there was a lot of goodness there. Some churches weren't. Mosque was the same way. I could go into certain mosque that the energies was just so strong that sometimes it was like, because I felt it so much that I really had to take a minute to take it all in. Because some of the places, the churches, the mosque were really pure places. And so pure, and I mean pure love, places of pure love. And I've witnessed that both in mosques and in churches. Can't say any Catholic churches. Can't say I ever felt that. It's always been pretty creepy. And I grew up somewhat in Catholic churches. I always thought people fake catching the Holy Ghost in church. A lot of people do. A lot of people do. But I have ability to see when that spirit goes into people. And it would trip me as a little boy to see this for the first time. I was like, well, damn, can I do that? But then I could see the people that faked. And I was like, we used to bet. And I used to kill people because I was always winning. It's like, yeah. They're like, what time is Miss so-and-so? And I'm like, and then I would do bets. I would see that. I'm like, yeah, watch Miss so-and-so about to get up. And they're like, oh, no, she's like bet. And we bet. And sure enough, they'd pop up. And there'd be somebody that doesn't pop up every week. That's what you would notice. The music between black and white churches are so different. Yeah, they are. They are. I remember my stepmother's folks. They were just regular Baptists, but they did a lot of the opera singing. It was kind of funny. It was because they did my stepmother's father wanted to. He was like, "Can this be our grandson?" Because my oldest would have been their first grandchild, and they announced it in church that their grandson was born and everything. And they were proud, but it was just funny, the music and stuff. And my ex was just like hitting me like this, and I'm like, "Stop!" And we just gotta laugh because the music was so opera-like. It was none of that, back and forth. Good time, good time. None of that. It was like from the yeah. So, so it was different. It was different. It was different. But I've never been in a church or a mosque where I wasn't welcome. Never had that experience. But the pureness of them, some of them, being sensitive. Some of them were really pure and really full of love. And that's kind of a great feeling. It really is. There was no cheating in those kind of places. Again, it would affect me because sometimes it would be too much, and the love would really be strong. The goodness of the place would really be strong. And I experienced that in mosque as well, where the mosque, when you would do the prayers through the week, and then the Friday prayer, the energies would just be building, and the Friday prayer sometimes really would be intense for me. So yeah, but not all of them. But I can say that I have experienced those in both instances. So it's not for me to judge. It's on you. You find what works for you, because that's the thing in silent prayer. It's like what works for you, what comes to you. You know. So not for me to judge. We each have to take our own journey that works for us. And it's no one can tell what true spirituality is for another person, because um, as I was saying, I've been into mosque and church that were full of love. I remember first time I went to the mosque in Winston-Salem. I told this before. They gave me, I was like, "Do you have any Qurans?" And they was like, "Wait a minute, we'll bring you some up." And they gave me the kind that had the two editions, brand new. You know. And then later I went to one in Greensboro, and they saw that I had the two, and the guy gave me a hardback one. He's like, "These is kind of hard to carry around. Here, I'll just give you this one." And he gave me a hardback one. So, what's your thought on mystics and chi? It's interesting. I should bring that book out. Might be right here, but I don't feel like looking for it when I be under pressure with my dyslexia. It'd be hard. But I have a book about mystics, and it's a lot of um, it talks about a lot how, like, you take Buddha, how he had to really suffer a lot in his life, and a lot of these mystics, and I'll bring that book out tomorrow. I'll try to remember it. But a lot of these mystics suffered through their lives to get enlightenment. And that's the Buddha story in a lot of ways. Now, chi is a whole kind of different thing because, like, if you watch Dynamo Jack, Dynamo Jack can actually create fire. He can actually push the chi to create fire. And he also has the ability, like my crystal collector talked about, he met a guy in the Himalayas uh, that could transfer energy like that, could transfer that chi. Again, this guy doesn't feel the energies in crystals, but this guy felt that transfer of energy from this shaman that he met. And I think he was, what would it be, Nepal or something like that, maybe Nepal or somewhere. He was looking for crystals, but he came into a man. So chi is a thing that, again, if you can go, how can I describe it? It is like, well, I guess we could start from the heart. If you like look at your heart as being enough to power like a whole apartment, it's that much power. It's like you have a nuclear bomb. And so what chi would be is being able to harness all this energy that actually your heart can create, and you can actually build it from the bottom of your soul and bring this out and kind of transfer it to others somewhat, or transfer more power into what you're doing. We see the martial artist that's able to, just break bricks by just barely putting the effort in it. But again, he's brought up so much energy out of himself that when he thrusts, yeah, you see the physical force, but you see the spiritual force as well. And so Dynamo Jack is probably the best example of that. Again, how he has it so much control. And like you see one of his early shows where he says his master got on him for being recorded and stuff. But later he let other stuff be recorded. But it just shows that how powerful you can be in control of that. So it's a thing that, it takes a lot of years of practice, though. A lot of years of practice. Can a person become a mystic warrior? I see a little twist in your question, but why couldn't you? If that was your aim, what would stop you from being that? There's nothing there that would stop you from being that. Because again, this would be the thing where this would really work for you. As I was saying, with Leary and all these dudes, the government be up in these astros and the ethers. They be there. They send people to monitor to see who can do what, and they will monitor to see what abilities you have. But if you were saying you want to be a mystic warrior, you could be one that points them out. When you see them there, you could point them out, and you could be helping somebody else out by saying, "Hey, what you doing here? We know who you work for. Why are you here? And why are you near me?" And so you could chase those kind of things away from you and spiritual people that you associated with. So that's very powerful. I got these are, there's no way to describe this. People might say I'm old or wear glasses, but there was another little thing I had last week, and you had these battles that you don't even realize you be having. But you get into these spiritual battles, and then you can have scars from that. Remember the Matrix, if you got hurt in the Matrix, you would kind of be injured when you came out sometimes. So that's what happens too. So that's very possible. Isn't it one and the same? What's one of this is Oh, okay. If they really defund the police, will it be martial law? No, no. It'd turn into the neighborhoods police and everything. It'd turn into the neighborhoods police and everything. I mean, what they were talking about doing here was the right thing. If you have, because see, this is the problem with cops. When cops go to domestic disputes, they got their prejudices. It's like, luckily, when my ex and she tried to take my children and she stole all my furniture and everything. And uh, when I called the officer, my son ran away from her. And when I called the officer, it was like, she done stole all my stuff. None of this stuff was hers. He's like, well, if you're married, she has the right to it. And I was like, well, my son ran away from her. And he was the one that told me, he's like, well, how old are you? And he's like, 12. Oh, you old enough to say who you want to live with. And so he gave me, because he's like, I know how it is. I just went through this. Whereas one time, as I told before, when she broke she couldn't be around me. She broke that agreement, and they didn't even want to arrest her. They told her, well, we don't really even want to arrest you, but we have to. But I mean, they showed, it's like the man is always wrong. It's like one time I had to knock my ex out. I mean, she wouldn't, like, I got out the shower, she was drunk, and I had cut my ear, and she just kept slapping me. And I didn't, I had to knock her out because she wouldn't stop. And I hit her so quick that soon as I made contact with her, it knocked her out, and she hit the bed and she fell on the floor. She didn't know what happened. And she woke up like, what happened? You had to hit me. What am I doing down here? And not knowing, I had a face full of blood. Didn't even know it. I went to McDonald's or something, got something to eat, and I wondered why the person looked at me, but I had a face full of blood. So I should have waited for the cops, because they'd have been looking at her like, why does he have a face full of blood? Because she kept trying to hit me, and I kept putting my hand up, but I had cut my ear. And so I blocked my hand from her slapping me, but she kept hitting my ear. And so it just made me bleed more, because, I had cut my ear shaving. I got off work or something. So what we'll see is defunding the police. We'll see, but my point is they're going to send people that don't have these prejudices to handle these. And then if you have a incident of mental illness, they'll send mental illness people. But they won't. They'll stop sending these people that have these prejudices to try to handle this stuff or have bad days. And not to say these support people can't have bad days, but that's in the right direction. You ain't always got to go up to these places with guns. That's the thing. Everything should not be where you got a gun. So that's the thing. And so that's how they're talking about doing it here. And again, I think the people, if you police, you should live where you police. I strongly believe that. And I know I was an officer at a couple of places where I didn't live. I always lived in a different city. But I firmly believe that now you should live there. You should have an investment there. You should want the neighborhood to look better because it's your neighborhood. You want the schools to be better because it's your, this is your neighborhood. And so, yeah, that's what's going to happen. And, we might have some vigilante justice, but some things call for that. But we'll be okay. We'll be okay. We'll be okay. You seen the movie Repo Man? Yeah, I don't. Is that the one where it says this is a perfectly waste of a perfectly good white guy, a perfectly good European, where he's in the trash can? I don't know. Isn't that the Estevan movie? When you get into who men who stare at goats, somewhat about that. I have to watch that again because I get that movie and the Ben Kingsley movie. I get those two movies mixed up, so I'd have to watch it again. It's been a while, but it's remote viewing. It's a remote viewing, and remote viewing. I guess we can talk about that. Remote viewing was another thing that they would take LSD and then they would get in this state where they can remote view. And what remote viewing is it's like astro traveling, but instead of you trying to spiritual go to far as you can go, you try to physically go to a place. And so you use the astro field to try to go into a place, and you would look at a camp, and then you'd be able to write where the guards are, write the topography of that. And so kind of like a Kemetan priest would have to do. A Kemetan priest, one of the things he would have to do is rise up and be able to do a topography of the lands where they lived, his idea. And so that's part of what remote viewing is. It's probably something that's not talked about a lot, but it's like I used to remote view for years when my children were younger that lived in Michigan. especially my younger two. My daughter's now 15, but when she was younger, every night I would go in there and kiss her and look over at my son. I did that for years when they were younger and I was living here. So the black man's under always scrutiny. I agree. Police, men and women should live in the area they work in. And so, yeah, that's the thing, Jeffrey. That is a thing that if you have that potential, but again, a lot of those people was taking LSD too and started with the CIA. This is something the CIA heard this, and so CIA found people could do it, and so they would go raid places and never even have to go there or send drones. Now they want to send drones, but there were people that could give you the whole layout before, never been there, but could go there through these spiritual kind of avenues and write the layouts. And that's what they was using. They was using the astral plane and the ethers to move through to go to these places. It's the same kind of movement, but instead you try to aim at going to a particular place. You have an aim, and the aim ain't spiritual. Your aim is going to a place. That makes sense. Most police officers in neighborhoods where at times they are not familiar with the residents of that neighborhood. How can I trust police if they don't know me? It was like the theater, they tried to show a dude taking out his trash and you're just going to go up and arrest him. I mean, that ain't nothing but race bait. That is purposely trying to race bait. No one is just. So somebody is having a domestic. You see a dude taking out the trash. First thing you ask him is some ID. Okay, well, can your wife go get you some ID and tell us who you are? But just going up and arresting a dude because we think you're the guy, it never works like that. That is theater. It never works like that. Well, he's taking out the trash, so it must be him. So that's what you want to do. You yell at your old lady, then you go take out the trash, And then the lady comes up and says, this isn't the guy. There's a thing called false arrest where you can sue their ass for doing that shit. So that goes into they should know, this is like most beat, you have the same beat for a minute, you're put in the same place. So after a while, you should know, some of your neighbors. Do they live there? This guy, may have rode by here one time and saw him in his yard. I mean, that's knowing the area where you live. If you got the same place every day and you have this area, eventually you get to knowing the people in the stores and if people shoplifting, you go into these stores and people see you see people, you see cars. And I know some areas are bigger than the other, but generally it's basically the same. It ain't like you got the whole city. You have a sector that you would cover. So you would get to know people. So, but that's the right now they want us. They want us at each other. They want the war between the melanated people and the police, and that ain't the war. That ain't the real war. Who it should be, it ain't them. They are not the enemy. They may work for the enemy, and they're being used by the enemy, but they ain't the real enemy. Keep your eye on the sparrow. Don't keep your eye on them because they're just there to protect property. Basically. They're just there to protect property. And I mean, it's wicked times, It's wicked times. Sly showed where he showed a video where a 13-year-old girl got stabbed by another young person. I mean, what kind of hate did you have? Because killing with a knife is the killing of passion. To stab somebody, that's a passion crime. And how at 13, how much passion do you have? I mean, what have you been through at 13? You just want to stab a motherfucker. Because it takes a certain type to be able to stab with a knife. But even the thing in Ohio, like what happened to you that you feel you just got to stab somebody? That's a crime of passion in most instances. So, but at 13, I mean, like where did you learn that you can just stab somebody? Like how do you get to that point where I don't like that girl and I just got to stab her? I don't understand that. Makes you wonder, what are they facing? What are they seeing where they feel this? So that's more a society problem than anything. It's like, why do these young people feel that they have to fight? Like, who just keeps fighting when you see the cops there? Like, you got that much hate where you keep fighting despite the cops being there? I don't know. That girl in Ohio was 16 with a knife. Exactly. So what happened to make her feel she had to try to end that lady's life or young lady's life? You know, what possessed her? Where it's just fight no matter what, where she was just beyond reasoning and rational, acting rational, where she didn't stop. You know, what was in her that made her continue no matter what? And was it a psyop, which it could have been, but you know, what is in these young people to have so much hate, especially to our own folks? And it's hard enough. It's hard enough for melanated people. Why is it that melanated people hate themselves? And it's like almost like we're turning into the tribal Africans, because Africans don't like other tribes. They don't like each other over there like that. I've been around enough of them. They don't like you think these Somalians here like the Somalians that got them kicked out? That was murking them for working for the Americans? Because we saw the same thing happen in Vietnam. We've seen the same thing happen in other countries. You working for the Americans and lose, and you start getting murked, and America got to step in and take you up out of there. That's why all these Hmong is here. But can you blame the other country? Can you blame the other people? You work for them people. How are we supposed to feel about you? We are fighting for you to control our own country. We're trying to get rid of these Europeans, and you working for the Europeans. And we've had tribes here. Why do you think they pay these native tribes? Who do you think? Why do you think they became recognized tribes? Because they work for them folks. And none of these recognized tribes didn't work for them people. And you get the Cherokee. The Cherokee was one of the first tribes to work for them people. They fought against Pontiac. Hey, Ciova, thank you for joining me. So, but I guess that gets into, you know, what makes young people hate so much. To be so young to have so much hate. That's what I don't get. I don't understand that. Why would you have so much hate at such a young age? At 13, I was looking at girls. I can't think of in my heart where life was so bad I hated somebody that much. Again, we don't know their home life. We don't know what's going on in their home life, but that's tough. That's tough to be that hateful at such a young age. I don't know. That's hard. That's hard to make you flip out. Why do you flip out at that age? This tobacco feeling is a funny feeling. I don't know if I get the feeling that would make me just want to smoke all the time, but it's a calming, I guess, thing. Very calming kind of thing, I guess. Generation X, a different breed. No, I was listening to somebody, they were talking about baby boomers. I'm a baby boomer. Baby boomers go from 44, 45 to 64. And I was born in 61, so I'm still a baby boomer. They was getting it in after the war, but it was like 2 wars by the time I was born. I mean, it was Korean War, and then they was in Vietnam already. I mean, don't let them tell you they didn't go to Vietnam till 64. They was in Vietnam 58, 59, because I know someone that was over there then. He was over there, and he spent 62 to 61, I think to 63 over there. And he was like, yeah, he said, we were in the jungle, and out of nowhere, this tribe came, this motherfucker was on an elephant. Here we are, because that was before even the M16s. They had the M14s. And he was like, yeah, motherfucker came out the jungle and the goddamn elephant almost shot his ass. But I mean, we have so many ways people grow up quicker and they're exposed to so much more. But hate, that's hard to understand, how a young person can generate so much hate. Don't know. I can't say. Can't say. It's sad. But it seems to be, this thing. Again, they want the melanated people to fight the police. And we can't fall for that. We can't fall for that, because that ain't the war. They ain't the enemy. The police ain't the enemy. But that's who them in the media want to make the enemy. They ain't the enemy. You know, it's an enemy. There's some enemies out there, and that's who the people should be against. But that's why they want to throw the police in your face, because they don't want you to know the real enemy of the people. And there's real enemies of the people. It ain't the police. It ain't them. That is a distraction. That is the first line. But it's real enemies out there, and we see it every day. We was talking about the GMO foods. If you live, you know that if you live near a plastic company, if you have children, it'll make your daughter develop breasts quicker. It will. The chemicals in the air are going to affect you. I mean, living near these plastic companies, because most plastic companies, again, there's some type of heating going on. So where do you think that exhaust goes? It goes into the city. I was watching some shit. They were talking about, it was a chick named Betty Davis, and not a very popular girl. I think she's most popular. She's married to Miles Davis. She knew Jimi Hendrix. She used to go with Eric Clapton. Not a very popular one, but they went to somewhere in Louisiana to record. They talked about in a paper factory. Now, Kalamazoo was a paper town. Matter of fact, Western Michigan University has a paper college. But there's a smell on the south side. And again, I've talked before how they killed the Kalamazoo River, because in the 40s and 50s, the paper companies were allowed to dump their waste in the Kalamazoo River. But if you find an early Sports Illustrated article about the Kalamazoo River, it was like the top sporting river in the nation in the 20s and 30s. And then in the 50s, now it's a dead river. It's one of the few dead rivers that runs to Lake Michigan. But it's been dead. It's probably been dead since 50 years. If not longer, been a dead river. And the smell, and it comes, once these paper factories was, Georgia Pacific was one of them. Once these paper factories was pushed out and couldn't dump their pollutants, they left town. After they was able to destroy something that was that beautiful. But, politicians, taxes, that's what they look at. They didn't care. They knew better. People say, well, back then they didn't know. They knew. But they didn't care. Profits over the environment any day. They don't care about that. Profits over the environment any day. They don't care about it. They don't care about our environment. Shit. They would have, look at a map on how they deforest America. And it doesn't even look like the same country. America was all trees. North America was just beautiful tree country. And who are they? Like, how is it that the people that lived in America didn't destroy the country, didn't destroy the natural resources? How is it that they survived? And who says it? Who's to say that? Because a lot of what they say is the manifest destiny and technology that the European brought over here. But who said the people here wanted that technology? The cannon to massive kill, the gun to massive kill. What technology are we talking about? America would have been a better off land without Europeans coming here. The technology that would have eventually came. And I'm not trying to sound racist. Just saying, this would have been it was a better country. It was definitely a better country. And if left alone and not trying to be conquered, this could have been a very beautiful lands. But we know greeds come in, the lust for gold. When they found out that it was natural resources, they forgot about the gold. Until they wanted more Europeans to go out west, and they lied about it. Said, just come out here, motherfuckers, read the paper and just want to go out west. Well, Margaret, we're going to get in this buggy and we're going to go out and go get some gold. Well, do you know how to get gold? No, but they say it's out there, and I think there's some waiting for us. When they was just trying to populate those lands that they had just conquered. That's all it was about. Conquered land. That's seems to be manifest destiny. Columbia, what they call the first space shuttle, Columbia. Do you think the Americans had technology before the Europeans came? Well, yeah. And you go into the Oman lands and how the Omans shared the pyramid building and spirituality. I mean, they still can't tell you how they made them skulls I talk about, and using obsidian mirrors to talk to each other. I showed where they had in Peru, they had the old kind of telephones. So yeah, there was a lot of technology. And then the ones that are up in El Dorado, Shangri-La, that kind of stuff, that's what Lindar is for. There are beings that, was able to go with the higher beings, the first beings. The first beings live in the atmosphere. And it ain't like heaven, but a long time. It took almost 2 hours. Outstanding. So they ain't fuck with them. They still trying to bring them down. And, that's what they hope, because they, a lot of people was like, hey, we're able to get away from this shit and we can't take everybody. So the ones that stayed was the lower technology people. But the higher technology, they still trying to take them down. So yes, they absolutely did have higher technology here, but not necessarily the mass ways to kill people. That seems to be what the Europeans brought, with the cannons and the guns. I mean, look at the history, just stating the facts. So yes, there were technologies here. America would have been fine if people didn't try to come dominate the area for the natural resources. And the same thing was done in Canada. Hell, the same thing was done up in Alaska, where there's still gold up there. So, and it ain't you don't see a lot of the native people getting that gold up there. So that's what we have. Like in even one of those books, he calls Cortez marched through Honduras the gold in a great march. Cortez was one of the most evil men. You got to put him in the same way as Columbus. Evil, straight up evil. When they went to what's modern day Mexico City, they brought all the nobles together and just murdered them. You had unarmed people, and you had about 100 or so with swords and knives, and just people that were the administrators of the city, and they killed 5,000 of the administrators because they figured they didn't have people to tell how to administer and keep the city up or bring the troops here and there. But even that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. How these people, even the pilgrim, none of that shit, how did they sleep when they weren't like, you would have thought at some point the people say, we got to just kill these people every chance we get. Just constantly try to kill them. That never happened. It never happened. It was like way too late when Tecumseh tried to do it and Pontiac tried to do it. They got too many allies for that by the end of that. As the Cherokee. So, but we got to move on from that, because this is what we're faced with. Is this reality or illusion reality? And yeah, because it gets into the thing. It's like, who does God talk to for advice? Like if you see this as an illusion, how do you tell God that you see the illusion? How do you tell the good, like, this shit ain't real? But you love your family, but this shit ain't real. Yes, but it feels real. But this shit ain't real. But you can smell it, you can touch it, you can taste it. Yeah, but this shit ain't real. That's a hell of a thing to have to fight with every day. To knowing this ain't real, knowing that this has to be illusion. It's just no way. It's nothing about these stories that makes sense. It just doesn't make sense. The way they say all this came just doesn't make sense. And why the bloodlust still continues to this day. And they still want to get people with division and heap people with division and stuff. So it's kind of interesting. Somebody's like, well, what do you talk about? What's your point? Well, the point is, there is no point. That's what Richard Pryor would say. There is no point. There is no plan. There's some things, but this is where I talk about a little bit of everything. And I don't have any hate for anyone, because it ain't everybody, I don't want anybody, well, he doesn't like Europeans. It's not that. It's not that. Because I have good friends that are Europeans that can count on me and I can count on them. So it's not that. It's just saying, looking at what was used, the doctrine of discovery, manifest destiny, these were used against the melanated people to occupy these lands and still being used today. If they have something on Mars, believe me, they don't care that they putting bullshit in the air. They are putting shit in the land to see if that shit would grow, how it would respond. If they can grow a Frankenstein up there, they're going to do it. And if there's something living up there, manifest destiny, documented discovery. There's little bitty men running around or little bitty things running around. Do you think if they could start sending massive people, do they care? Do those little bitty things have any rights under manifest destiny, document of discovery? They don't. They think right now because they sent shit up there and they don't know what's up there. I don't believe they're up there. I think it's all a lie. That's what I think. When they're rich billionaires, you supposedly, what do you believe happened? Do you think their brains are put in AI or something? Or it could be a conscious transfer. Could be, very much so, type of conscious transfer. Well, what is the movie, Jeffrey? You would know. Remember, which one was it? Remember where they had the two down and the conscious transfer was about to go where he was going to be into a younger body, and then they destroyed the thing and stopped it where it almost went through, that kind of thing. Kind of consciousness transfer to keep that person there, because again, this is their heaven. They don't want to, they know they're going to get fed on, so they don't want to leave this plane. So that's why a lot of them will prefer to do that, take the place of somebody else. So, but what's the one movie where he almost did it, and then the superheroes come and break that shit up at the last minute, and he can't do the consciousness transfer, consciousness, and replace it with someone else, so you can move on to the next life. Is there a way to transfer your consciousness and replace it with someone else's, so you can move on to the next life? When I bring up consciousness transfer, I mean on this plane. That's what I see it as, on this plane. Now, the best thing is when it's time to die, just go. You don't really, you have, that's the part that's really free, for you to move on to wherever you want to take your consciousness to. So not necessarily, to jump into something else here. The true thing you would want is to be free. You have every right to try to find your own. What I say all the time, every person wants to be a planet, every planet wants to be a universe. And so you have that in you, is to try to be a planet next time. X-Men movies, Ninja Cool. Yeah, one of the X-Men movies. Yeah. But they kind of show how it can be done, where these old dark souls want to continue on this plane, because again, this is their heaven. This is their heaven. They don't have anything to, as Wes Paneri says, to go to the, central sun and go to the source father and the source mother. Those kind of beings don't want that, because they know they won't be allowed. I don't want to wait that long. There you go. But they don't want that. They don't want to be a planet. They want this, instead of trying to be their own planet, so they can turn into their own universe. They don't want that. They want heaven right here on earth. This is their heaven. To them, having all the money and the resources is heaven to them. And the cigars are soothing to my throat. So, because doing this damn wax is harsh on your throat. Hell is on earth now. Yeah. Hell is on earth. This is what they want. This is what they want. This is, if you have to look at like polluted air, the troll under the bridge, the troll under the bridge, the troll under the roads. I mean, there's beings that like it like this. They like the nasty water. They like the nasty air. They like the dead land. There's beings that prefer this, because this is what they did to their lands. I mean, what's the Dr. Seuss book say? They cut all the trees, and the spirit of the trees came out and was like, I mean, that's a real thing. That's what we see in America. They've killed all the trees. We have very few trees left in the world. Now they're trying to deforest the Amazon, which they call the lungs of the planet. They don't care as long as they can make money. And that's how they got them people down there thinking, we got people that'll buy this stuff. They'll buy our wood. So this is better for the country, deforesting it. We don't care about the animals. They don't have any right. I mean, look at Australia with the koala bears. Look at how they burned all the land. So in Australia, because people love the land so much, the only way to get rid of some of that land is cause these fires. And so that's what we saw down there. It's like, okay, you love these animals. Well, if we just say it naturally caught on fire, wildfires, then nothing we could say. That's just happened. So we didn't mean to. I mean, that's a shame where the only way some of these animals can survive, like a rhinoceros. People want his horn because some Asian person can get hard using that shit. I mean, that's or you want a gorilla just for his hands and feet. Kill that beautiful animal. Or you want to kill an elephant for the ivory. And even today, there's places where you can go and you're basically in a zoo, but you can just shoot the animals. You can pay these motherfuckers to go shoot these animals just to say I conquered a lion. I mean, the mind who has that mindset. You see who poses in the pictures and who got the bread to do that. So you can put the head, the necromancy shit. You can have a necromancy room full of dead animals. I went to a house and this motherfucker, and I almost bought this house, but this motherfucker had about 2,000 dead animals in his house, stuffed amongst his children. He had an alligator on a wall. He had a bear about 5 feet tall. He had killed all this stuff. It was like so much death in that place. And I know the animals are a shell, but it's like, wow, why would you want all this death in the house? Like, how is this looked at as art? It was like, I looked at you as like a mass murderer, and it's like, wow, the energy and that's why I didn't get it, because the energy was just so fucked up in that house. And if I'll probably, I was about to buy the house, but then I ended up almost getting killed, so I couldn't buy the house. When will they ever get it together? Even though we live in comfortable times, we are being tested harder spiritually than other times in human history. When will it needs the white hunter, the great white hunter? Like they put Tarzan. They put Tarzan as the god of the jungle. He wasn't the king, he was the god. He could talk to everything. He could just yell and all the animals would go crazy and shit. Remember, he'd get that yelling and all the animals go crazy like the great white hunter's coming. He had to be the god of the jungle, but they were telling you they overcame. That's one of the things of King Kong, was overcoming, defeating nature. That was the old message of King Kong, was defeating nature as well. So, have you seen the stuffed dead people in different poses? Yeah, he's a nasty, killing all them animals. Yep. Have you seen the stuffed dead people in different poses? Yeah, I've seen that. It's someplace out west I was, where there was a dead motherfucker in the museum one time. Can't think of what that was, but they had a dead motherfucker up in this museum. Yep. But yeah, it was nasty, all that dead shit in that house. It was like, wow. And he had children, he had little children. And like in the basement where the children's shit was like dead birds and dead ducks and just dead everything. Skunks, you name it. It was dead in his house and stuffed. But yeah, I've seen stuffed people. Yeah, it was somewhere I was out west. They had a dead motherfucker in the museum that lived in one of them places or some shit. I don't remember what it was. Do you think World War III will happen? I'm thinking 2030. We into World War IV. World War III just got over. World War III, I told you that before, Moray. We're about to start World War IV, but we're already all the fighting they just did. The Trump pulled us out of. That was the end of World War III. Uncle Imbecile stopped it, pulling out them people in Afghanistan. All that's the end of World War III there. All that fighting in Yemen and all that shit. Iraq, excuse me, not Iran, but Iraq, Kuwait. Yeah, all that was World War III. They didn't want to tell you that. That Tarzan shit is ridiculous. It's funny. Yeah, it's funny as hell. It's, and that was a guy, Johnny, he was Olympic. The original Tarzan, Johnny Weissmiller, he was from Battle Creek, Michigan. This guy had won the state swimming, and then he went on to, I think, the university. He either went to UCLA or the University of Michigan. And Johnny Weissmiller, he was Olympic champion. But he was from Battle Creek Central. You would see his banners, state title in 1920, swimming title. But that was from him. And I don't know, I want to say he went to UCLA, but he might have went to Michigan. But he was Olympic gold medalist, swimmer. And he played the original talkie Tarzan, not the silent Tarzan, but he played an original talkie Tarzan. For me, he's Tarzan to me in the black and white movies. China already has the digital money system. Well, they're trying to, China also has that system on how you act, how you travel. You have a social currency as well that they trying to bring over here and put on people. So, yeah. And they want, I look at, that King Kong Godzilla movie is, one thing that I thought was very telling was they said, well, they destroyed the Pacific Fleet. And so it wouldn't be hard for them to do the man in the high castle on us and say our Pacific Fleet got destroyed and we can't stop the Chinese from, invading the West Coast and maybe even giving them part of the West Coast. I mean, look at the laws now. They just passed a law in the Senate against Asian hate. We got one of the biggest Asian communities in St. Paul. There ain't nobody fucking with them people. So why did they need extra laws? Where's the laws for the soul folks? Where's the laws for the rest of the melanated people? There's just laws for them because you set up some psyops. Believe me, you go over to St. Paul and fuck with them people over there. Ain't nobody fucking with them. They got gangs over there. Them Hmong got gangs and shit over there. Ain't nobody fucking with them. I told the story multi times about my neighbors. They had been in this country since the 70s. Motherfuckers didn't speak any English. They was Vietnamese. They didn't speak any English, the older folks. It was like the great-grandparents, the grandparents, and then there was a son or something that was my age. He didn't even speak English. He was my age. And they owned restaurants here, but they never spoke English. The younger people did. But them old folks, one dude, I could tell he fought in the Vietnamese War. He's always fucking with his bicycle. But I was like, he was that age. He was probably in his 70s. And I was like, yeah, you fought against your people. That's why you're here. But this is how they don't even think they don't even they may not be able to speak English, but they can count money. Vaccine passports are precursor to the social credit system. That shit, again, they ain't. It's going to be a lot of people with money ain't taking that shit. I'll say that. A lot of people still going to have money ain't taking that shit. And you going to tell me that you're going to turn them away? I don't believe that. They saying, well, you can't get on cruises. Okay, a cruise is some nasty shit. Let me say that again. A cruise is some nasty shit. How many times in the past 20 years have you've heard people getting sick on these fucking boats? Where do you think they get the air from? You think it's just healthy air? You got all them turbines and they ain't nuclear ships. They still take gas. You think them rooms be clean? How many times in the past 20, 30 years we've seen where multi-health problems on these cruises? A cruise ship is nothing but a fucking hotel on water. That's what it is. You know how nasty hotel rooms can be. So why would you want to be packed? And a cruise ship is like a 10, 15-story building. That's how big and how stuffed they make everybody. And you might have, your fucking room might be little as my little dining room kitchen. You sleep in this area, you got a little shower there. That's a good time because they got a club in there and there's a mall in there and you can gamble in there. Yeah, that's some shit I did when I was younger. And fuck that. I wouldn't do that shit again. So if it takes that shit to go on a cruise, fuck a cruise. They ain't gonna stop that shit from flying. Bet you that. They ain't gonna stop that shit from flying. pushing diversity. Yeah, they don't want diversity. They ain't diversity in that money, Moray. The elites ain't pushing diversity and spreading the wealth. Matter of fact, they want to put you in more communism. What do you think these payments is? These payments is communism. Now they talking about the cities is going to start trying to pay people. That's communism. Now they talking about a fourth and fifth payment. This is communism. And these liberals, and liberalism comes from conversos during Inquisition. You ain't never heard me say this. This is where liberalism comes from. Liberalism comes from conversos, which are Jewish faith people that had to justify why they switched to the Christian faith. That's what liberalism is. That's what they described it. It does not come from Democrats. It does not come from the capitalistic system. Liberalism comes from the Inquisition, from conversos justifying. They were called liberals. Conversos were also called liberals. So they're trying to take that word and put it towards people that feel that we should be a utopia civilization, but it's greed. Greed will stop that. Rich people always want to be rich, and they always want slaves. We are happy slaves, but we had too much freedom, and so they thought of a way to take away our freedoms, and people went with it. I mean, 8 weeks, the whole world's wearing masks. That ain't freedom. That's the shit we saw with the USSR, standing in lines and shit to get food. I mean, we watched our freedom go away, and these people are happy for it. The Gestapo shit we saw all last summer, seeing young people out there having fun, it's nice. They ain't worried about this shit. like the Hispanic brother says, Dad went into the doctor's office, and the doctor said, "I got some bad news for you, Mr. Lopez. You got cancer." And he said, "No, I don't. I didn't have cancer when I walked in here. Just because you say I got it, don't mean I got it." And he said his dad changed his diet, so his dad lived, rest of his life without fucking with that. My grandfather had cancer, brain cancer. He had so much cancer in him, and I told this the other night. He had cancers fighting cancers, but he survived 20 years after they said he'd lived for 6 months. So, do you think slavery was a choice? Biden said another stimulus coming in the summer. Yeah. I heard about folks. There's a hotel on water, let you on islands for 2 hours apiece. Well, see, CJ, slavery wasn't what they tell you slavery was. That's another myth. What we had is sharecropping in a lot of ways. We had sharecropping. And this bullshit where you couldn't go from one place to the other, that's all bullshit. The bullshit where they breaking up families, that's all that Uncle Tom's Cabin shit. They don't want to tell you that Southerners that there was melanated units fighting for the Confederacy. They don't want to tell you that. I want to say the Cherokee fought for the Confederacy them damn self at first. Then they switched sides. Look at all the melanated people that fought in Texas that fought for the Confederacy. They don't want to tell you that, though. They want you to think that, my great uncle was in the 54th Massachusetts, along with another great uncle that did die at the Battle of storming Fort Wagner in South Carolina. But that wasn't when the first melanated troops, they fought them motherfuckers. So slavery wasn't like they tell you. That's Reconstruction. Reconstruction is like that, but not what they call American slavery. It wasn't never that. Tubman wasn't. When you want to get in that shit, people taking you off the lands and trying to send you to Liberia, that's the Tubmans for you. Look up Liberia, which president was a Tubman. History, they lying about this shit. Why would they need to bring Africans when you started slaving people as soon as you got over here? They didn't need slaves in the Americas. They had all the slaves they needed in North and South America. Same way in Canada. Shit, if they could have slaved Eskimos, they did. They would have. So, classic liberals of the past would want nothing to do with the modern SJV liberals. No, they wouldn't. We've been lied our whole life. It's sad. Yeah, CJ. I mean, the history, like it's really hard for people my age to not identify with Africa. I mean, think about like when they came hard about the Africa shit was Richard Pryor talks about it in the 50s when they was trying to push the Africa stuff. And then you start hit real hard in the mid 60s and in the 70s. It started hitting us back to Africa. Have some pride. We was once kings and queens. Well, how could we possibly came for Kemet that's on the other side of Africa? Seems like we would come from the quicker trip. This book I got called the History of Slavery. I ain't got my glasses, but it's the world history of slavery. It makes you hate Africans because it tells the truth. Africans sold their own people, or they sold weaker tribes. The Central African tribes sold the shit out of them Africans. So if you want to be mad at the motherfucker, be mad at them Africans over there again, because they would conquer tribes. They would slave them. First, they would slave them for shells, and then when the Europeans brought metal bars, or iron, or lead, and they would trade motherfuckers for lead. So it was Africans, trading Africans. So it wasn't like that. And then the first slaves from America came from Columbus. You can look at the picture of him with Fernando and Isabella. He took 20, and only about 5 or 6 lived. So. But yeah, we've been lied to about all this shit. And that's, we've been lied to. Yeah, we've been lied to. And that's sad. That's the sadness that we have to face today. And so what you got to do is like, how are you going to deal with it today? Knowing this, how do you deal with this thing? Because they're making these times harder and harder. And again, we're comfortable slaves. And revolution comes from not being comfortable. But with these big TVs, I mean, do you know anybody without a big TV? Remember how long, like look at 15 years ago, even 10 years ago, how much these TVs cost. Now you can get an 80-some inch TV or 75-inch TV for $400 or $500. That's to make you a more comfortable slave. We're comfortable being slaves. You're comfortable working for somebody else. Your name ain't on the front of the check. You put your name on the back because you're working for another motherfucker. And it's a lot of hard up people, I'll say that. Match me shit just blows my mind. One dude was showing, what is this shit called? Not the fans only, but it's some other shit he was showing. And it just blows my mind. The loneliness of people, how people will pay just to see a pretty girl talk. And she ain't talking about shit. She ain't giving you any content. Anything to help your spiritualness or your well-being other than you just looking at a cute girl that might say some shit about your comments. What do you want? What do you want? I see you down there, buddy. I'm gonna keep trying to go. My leg is starting to hurt. I don't know what's. Tell you what though, I love my massage gun. That shit helps. Massage gun helps a lot. Helps get this shit loose. I hit my daughter in her back. She just dies laughing. Oh, but it helps. It helps loosen this shit up. And I got a good walk in today. Real good walk in. Again, I'm not drinking beer tonight because as you get older, you shouldn't drink alcohol every day. You mean the OnlyFans shit? No, not the OnlyFans. It's Twitch. Twitch. The Twitch shit. The one dude, can't think of his name. Siova, maybe it's him. But he was showing that Twitch shit. And yeah, Siova, he's listening. He came his shit. And he was showing that shit. I had never really heard of that stuff. But it's like, these women are getting rich. Don't do shit. Don't do shit. One lady was in a kiddie pool or a hot tub. I mean, it's like, really? That's what you want to waste your time? It's like some people are just and giving these people all this money. Some people was seeing who could give them the most. Now I talked about last night about Match Me. The good thing about it is they shared the loot. I'll say that about it. But it's the same kind of thing. It ain't people giving up good information. It ain't teaching nobody nothing. It's a cute girl. Some of these girls don't even do shit but be on their phones. Don't say shit, got music playing. And that's another thing. It's like, how do they get on these other sites and they don't get hit with copyrights? Match Me play music all day, and you ain't seeing people getting hit with copyrights. How is that? How is you play music on this shit? Tinder. No, he called it Twitch. Or maybe it is Tinder. No, I think he called it Twitch. He called it Twitch. And showing where they could do videos. Tinder is something else. You don't really see live shit on Tinder. Match Me is with Plenty of Fish. That's what Match Me is. It's the same thing. Plenty of Fish should Match Me. But they ain't giving up any spiritual information. Just some people that do cards and stuff, but you don't see their channels doing it like that. But on Match Me, they take 50%. Ooh, they don't play. At least YouTube, if you pay YouTube, they take 30%. That's why it's best to have Cash App, because they don't get none of that. But like, look at all the stupid shit they put on this stuff. And people they make rich, because they make people rich. They choose people who they want to make rich. They tell you they got kind of rules and shit, but yet they took my other channel down without any telling me I did any different rules. You're supposed to get 3 stripes. I didn't get 1. It's just automatically take it down. Over 3,000 videos. And I ain't crying. You just keep going. You do it again. You try to do it better. What do you think about the state of America in 21? Lone play. Well, I mean, right now you got to do the best you can do. That's the state. I mean, the division ain't going to go away. They're going to keep trying to make the war between the people and the police, and that shouldn't be the war. And because they're going to back the police up with National Guard unit first, and then with full Army unit second. And the thing is, would the Army stand aside? Because the Army's the National Guard from these states. Hey, Jody, good evening. What time is it? Oh, 2:30. All right, get away. Oh. Man, let me see if I can show the back of this shirt. This shit is kind of cool. See if I can show the back of it. Kind of cool. I don't know if it's showing. I don't know. Maybe it didn't show. I don't want to give everybody a butt shot. Oh, I don't know if I can do it. That's about the best I can do. I don't know if that's enough. I don't know if that's enough. But I don't know, if you're going to spend time with people and spend money, you should get some kind of good information that's practical that you can use, And I kind of go on the spiritual and history side of things. So, sound like you said a name. Get away. Get away. Get away. Get away. Go do something. Oh, I didn't take my muscle relaxer, so my legs hurting. Not much love on strange times we're enjoying the flow. Well, thank you, Normalize. They keep calling America the Great Experiment. Yeah, who are they experimenting on? That's probably the thing, is who they experimenting on. But I don't know, lone play. I don't know. There's never been more division than we see now. This Floyd thing was nothing but a replay of the OJ. That's all. Just a different outcome. Still trying to incite people. That's the thing. That's why when I did my little short video, I showed all 4 screens, because it was like the same screen I remember seeing with OJ. You had the melanated people on one side, and you had Europeans, and the melanated people is cheering and shit, and it's like, okay, he got off, but you don't know this motherfucker, so what you cheering for? This motherfucker had never showed that he dug melanated people. What did the song say? I'm OJ, and that was what he said. He's like, I'm OJ. I'm not neither. You can't call me that. Call me OJ. It's the same. The New World Order is winning. Yeah, that is. Well, that's why you see masks everywhere. That's from the New World Order, and that goes back to
W. Bush. He was the first one that boldly came out and said that shit. Shit, he wasn't joking when he said that shit. But look how long it took him to do that for them. And then they hate Solomon because Solomon is control of these motherfuckers, and they hate Solomon. So that's partly why they knocked the pillars down. That was kind of a spitting into Solomon, knocking Solomon's pillars down. That was kind of why they built that shit, was to knock it down. You notice they went and got all that gold. Yeah, you remember that part? They went and got all that gold. Then they wouldn't let people check the marks. They shipped that shit to China, so you couldn't see all them laser cuts they had already done, all that work. Yeah, that shit was fake as hell. But yeah, the New World Order is winning, and they got the whole country masked up. Thinking some shit can kill you. The moment you are born, you start to die. That is just a fact. And so, wondering if this thing can kill you or not, well, most people survive. And you got all these healthy people getting shots. Makes you wonder. Makes you wonder. Maybe I didn't say the wrong thing. They didn't take me down. Because when they took me down before, all I was saying was my own experience with my own doctor. That's it. But I guess for back in January, once Slow Joe got in, I guess there was a change of pace. New sheriff was in town. But I'll thank you all for hanging with me, because to get to 800 took me almost a year and a half before. So thank you. Thank you for the people that subscribe. Thank you to the people that stay up late with me. I appreciate that. Thank you for the people that watch my sports stuff. I appreciate that. Thank you for the people that donate. I thank you all for that as well. So, and I do want to start. I got some help with mailing stuff, and I do have some stuff I want to send out. So, got a couple extra crystals that I can send out. So I'll let you know when I can get that together. Make sure they can follow up. Because part of my dyslexia, I do have a problem sending shit out. It's like like Crazy Sarge, Box been down there with that mirror for about a year, and I just forget, and I'm just not good. So I sent a couple things out, but I do need help with that. So I got a couple people said they'll help me. So try to get that together. I sleep at 2 a.m. I sleep at 2 anyways. Ha ha ha. Damn crazy times. Yes. Stephen A looked like he ain't want to take the shot. Oh no, he didn't. He didn't. And you can see where he didn't even have his fake hair in there. But you see what it does to your skin. Like LeBron, oh my goodness. Like you see where he took them cuts so they could put that little fake hair there. Like, what is it with that dude? What was wrong with that dude being bald? I guess he didn't want to be bald. Definitely, OG, the knowledge you give out is always great. Well, thank you. That's kind, CJ. Kind words always help. That's why you don't see me on here bashing no one particular individual. I don't talk about other YouTubers and say they ain't shit. And no, I do suggest that when you tell out stuff, you try to tell it without a slant. That's the best way to put out information. Don't be like this side or that side. You put the information out, and it's up to the people if they fall with it. Have a good night. I need to get my ass to bed. Virtual hug. Well, that's nice. Thank you for joining me. Good night. Have a good evening. May your dreams be pleasant. I wonder how long it's supposed to go. I don't think it's going to ever go away. No play. I don't think it's ever going to go away. People detest time, Lord. Maybe a couple more years. I don't know. 26, I think it's going to go into at least 26. Yeah, they do. Hey, Rodney. Peace. Thank you. People deserve it. Have a good night, everybody. Good vibes. Good vibes is always a pleasant, positive thing. And that's the thing. I don't be on here attacking people. I ain't trying to make it like that. I give props. We all let this shit happen. Exactly. We all let this happen. We got a military that that needs to step aside. We got police that need to step aside and let the people take over. That's the thing, because no revolution has ever happened without those two things happening.
where the military steps aside and the police step aside. So these are the things that we have to consider. That's true revolution because we have people in the Senate, 40 years in the Senate. Mostly the dudes who make president, they selected, they ain't elected. And they want to tell you all this stuff in Georgia and the laws are Jim Crow. No, they're not. But because we have other states that are more strict than what they just said. But it's just the way they want to put the information out there. Like people are being cheated because Georgia did supposedly so well, and it's all a sham. It's all a sham. I don't speak to normies anymore. Well, lately people I've been around, saying they took the plunge and stuff, and I see where the plunge. I can tell you a personal example where a person with the plunge and a person that didn't have it, and the person with the plunge gave it to the person. I can tell you that firsthand. But in the future, you're going to have to attack people because some people around you can't be trusted. This is a fact. It is an evil world. People that are not up to knowledge are difficult to talk to. That's the point. One of my friends took it. I feel, yeah, I'm under the same thing. I feel sad. I've had some friends the same way, and I feel the same sadness. It's like, wow. And one of them was under the guise so I can travel. And I'm like, wow. Your dad took it. Wow, that's sad. That is because some people I know. Matter of fact, one person was supposed to take it, and they said they ran out. They went to take it, and they said they ran out. And they was like, "Well, I want to travel." And I'm like, "My goodness, yeah." No, only places I want to go, you can go damn near without that shit. You rent a private boat, you can go to almost all these countries in South America where I want to go see the pyramids. That's it. So take my passport, get in, and go see that shit, and that's it. So. And I heard people, well, we can move down to Mexico or South America. Now without an army, you can't. Mark of the Beast is coming. I'd say the beast is here. He need to cut that is off. My mom took it too. Wow. He was bummed. Wow. Wow. My friend got a big ball on their arm after it. Woo, interesting. FEMA camps? I don't know. I don't know if it'll come to that. They got people in camps now down on the border. And, people ordering their children left and right on the border. That's why they throwing them over fences because people are ordering those children. They are paying people. The children, you're in these poor countries where children ain't, don't have any rights and they can be sold to America. So that slavery is being allowed. At least Trump stopped that kind of slavery. But what did Slow Joe do? Slow Joe picked it up. Said you can order children again. And so that's why you see the children down there. Because remember, under Obama, damn near 3,000 children came up missing, and that's logistics. Takes a lot of people. Already they telling you children going all around the country. They ain't lying about that. They're telling you that. The children now are from the border going all around the country. They ain't telling you what's happening to them children, but so I am 23 and I saw the world for what it is. That's good for you to see it so young. Poor children, so sad. Once I woke up, I was in a shitty place for back in 16. What is that on your shirt? It says, I am down with my demon. That's what it says. I am down with my demon. Down with my demon. CJ says he's 23 as well. Remember when I was 23, I was very handsome. What did he say in a Vampire in Brooklyn? Back when I was 23, I had the same hair, same clothes, same shoes. People don't care about children because it's not theirs. There you go. There you go. But in poor countries, you got less mouth to feed. And they're giving you a couple $1,000s, and you might not make $100 for the year. So, they be making machines down there, and they getting rid of them because we have people in power now that run this country to say, bring the children back up. All this shit's back going on. Well, guys, I don't really want to go to 3 hours tonight, but I do appreciate the support. I'm going on 2 hours and 39 minutes. But for a person that really didn't have any points or any subjects. As I said before, the point is there is no point. I just try to look at world affairs and look at spirituality and how you put the two combined. Yeah, that psychopath is crazy. Yeah, it is. It is crazy. It's crazy because you had one man to stop that kind of thing. And I don't care what you say, they wasn't throwing children over the fences. Children wasn't rushed. So Uncle Imbecile stopped that kind of thing. He wasn't even letting them come into America. And the same people that cried about children in cages sleeping with the moon blankets. Yeah, same shit. So I have to watch your lies more often. Uh, um, but well, thank you, Lone Play. I appreciate it. This world is very crazy, telling people and showing themselves more day to day. It truly amazes me. It amazes me too. But I watched all this play out. I remember every day it was normal in school. I could just feel the air that it was just shifting. And I'm looking at these people like, these people don't know this shit's about to change. But every day that I was able to pick my daughter up, I was like, damn, another day we made it, another day. And then the thing hit, and I was like, here it is. And it changed like overnight. And now instead of being able to stand in the gym with other parents picking up our children, we got to wait in the damn car line. We have to wait in the car line to pick up these children. So it's okay for us to be in our cars to pick up these children, but yeah, I am waiting for the day they come to my house to kill me and I go out blazing. He's just a total great info, Low Play. Well, thank you, Jody. I don't know, Mo Play or Mo Ray. I don't know. I don't know if I want that. I've been in that mindset, but I don't know. When do you think they would take the guns? I don't think they're going to take the guns. They're going to try to pass laws, but these people that live west of the Mississippi ain't going to go for it. They're not really going to go for it. So they kind of trying to lay back off that shit. That's been their agenda for the next 3 years that they want to do. But west of the Mississippi, that ain't going to play. See, that's why they hit Texas the way they hit Texas with the freeze. It was about the guns. Because just think about if they do it again next year. Turn in your guns and we'll give you heat. When has Texas ever had ice storms and snowstorms like that? So it's already happening with all these restrictions. Yeah, well, but it's not as yes, in a way, yeah, it is. Like arms list up here. You could like in this state, if you were sitting next to me and you gave me money, I could just sell you a gun. You don't have to be registered to sell a gun person to person. They're trying to change that. And now most of the people make you have a permit to purchase or a permit to carry. Permit to carry, you can still buy them, but by the laws in this state, person to person sales, you don't require a background check nor do you need a license. You can just buy a gun from a person. 3-4 years ago, now on our list, more and more people want you to have a permit to purchase, even though legally there's no obligation. Legally you don't have to, but that's where we're at. People keep thinking things are going to be different. I think, well, we'll see. We'll see. Well, guys, I am going to go. I'm going on 3 hours, so I can't do no more. But I will everything you think I was going to happen. People need to be warned. I agree. People need to be paying attention. Pay attention. That's what I would say. Pay attention. And then act accordingly. Yep. When they attempt to take guns, that'll be the start of people versus them. I think so too. And who would they put behind that? They would try to declare military law or martial law, because martial law is when you see troops on every block or every exit point. That is true martial law. And would the military go along with it? That's the thing. No revolution happens without the military stepping aside and the police. And so what if the military steps aside and says, go get them? Yeah, it make these people want to drop the bomb on you like they did in Planet of the Apes, because that's hell. That's hell to them. Hell to them is them not being in charge. That's hell. If the elites can't be in charge, that's hell, and they would blow up the world. They would try to blow up the world before that would happen. That's what they showed you in the original Planet of the Apes in the 60s. They would rather kill the world than them not being in charge because it would be hell. So, well, good night, PJ. Thank you for joining. They ain't going to catch me lacking. Yeah, they don't catch me lacking either. So, this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am Eight Wind is Timeless. And as you know, I always end with Eshan's rap. And so I'm not a New York rapper or LA gangbanger. I'm just an old school Detroit crack slinger. This has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. Till we meet again. Thank you, everyone.